Hey everybody, Ben Hansen from MinnMax here. There was a Star Fox emergency right after we recorded this episode of the MinnMax Show podcast, and so we jumped in for a live reaction stream with Kyle Hilliard and MinnMax's production assistant, Nick Stefanacci, who is a huge fan of Star Fox. So you can check the link in the description if you want to see our full reaction. But in this big reveal of the surprise Nintendo Direct, they announced they're making a Star Fox game for Switch 2, and it's just called Star Fox, but it is another remake of Star Fox 64. And it has a redesign of all the Star Fox characters, and they're shockingly realistic. They're going for a more animal look here. Some people say they're going for the puppets on the Super Nintendo box art. It's different from puppets. They're going for more animal-like with these depictions of Star Fox. So big reactions all across the internet. But just so we can cover it on this week's episode of the podcast, here are snippets from that reaction stream before we get to the meat and potatoes of new stuff for the MinnMax Show this week. We're also, of course, joined by Nick Stefanacci, MinnMax's production assistant and world's biggest Star Fox fan. Hello, Nick.
I'm about to have a freaking heart attack.
Don't have a heart attack. Don't have a heart attack. Just survive.
I'm genuinely worried about Nick. Like, truly. Like, are you
My
gonna
heart's
be okay?
pounding so much. I don't know. I might cry.
All right, let's jump in. We don't know what the hell this is.
Yeah.
This is as fresh as it can get.
This is looking 64 remakey, right?
That's what he said, yeah.
Wait, does he look
It is for
actual-
okay.
Oh, no! Oh, no!
What?
Oh, no! Oh, no!
What?
I think I like it. I think I like it.
The weirdest thing about this, other than it just surprise direct, which if this is the new standard for them, planning for podcasts is screwed. But like the weirdest thing is like the leak said new Star Fox game and the visuals are like awesome, or like there was something about like the visuals
Impressive.
are
I think they said they're impressive.
impressive. I could not imagine. What? I was so excited for thinking like, oh, I think that means it's going to be more stylized. And for it to be the almost exact opposite of stylized is the part that I just could not.
I like the idea of like realistic animal pilots, right? Like I think that's fun, but I just don't, they do need to be a little more humanized, I think.
So strange.
I mean, I'm shaken up because you guys say stylized, and we just got off of the Mario Galaxy movie, and that style is insane. I thought it'd be more like that, but this is this looks like something straight out of Blender.
Yeah.
Like I can't get over that. I feel like I've seen. Well, okay. So the thing is, and why I'm so shocked on this, because there is a Star Fox fan game called Star Fox Event Horizon, and no joke, like the characters kind of look like this.
Really.
Yeah, like this is, I haven't played it, but I've seen it online like multiple times, and it looks pretty fun. But like the budget that Nintendo has, I'm like, I'm just shocked. I'm like, oh my god, and it's a retelling of 64 again.
Right.
Like the newest thing they showed besides the multiplayer was that final cutscene of Pigma betraying Fox and Peppy, or James and Peppy. So I'm like.
I mean, I think retelling is the wrong word, though. This is Star Fox 64, like not in this sort of flippant, like, you know, Zero Mission is just a remake of 64, because Zero Mission is a different game with different story and different levels. Like they're remaking Star Fox 64, like pretty straightforwardly, you know.
Yeah, I think like this is more of like a remake of 64 than Zero is. Like Zero does have like a few new missions, especially because you have the Walker from Star Fox 2. So like there is newer content there, but like we didn't see any new vehicles. Like the Landmaster was there, the submarine was there. Like no.
I'm sorry, Nick. I mean, I thought Zero Mission. I know it's like a joke to call Zero Mission a 64.
Zero Mission.
Zero. Okay, because like to my memory, that was like a completely original game. Like, was there a Corneria level?
You start off in Corneria and you end in Venom.
Okay, but I guess I'm just to see you say that it was a retelling so confidently. I just never felt that way about Zero, but where this might as well be called Star Fox 64 remake. You know,
like this, and I think this was like the biggest fear. I mean, as a Star Fox fan like myself, I'm like, I want something new, and that's the thing. I think a lot of fans are going to be upset too, because like, I mean, I'm a fan of Crystal, but she's like not here, because I really thought like after 64 it was Adventures, and they kind of had like a story going from there, and then after Adventures it was Assault, and Crystal kind of joined the team from there. But it's like for some reason Nintendo does not want anything to do with Crystal. They're just like, that is like a rare character. They don't really care for Crystal.
They'll get to her though. I mean, it feels like really kind of testing the waters. Zero is testing the waters. This is testing the waters again and being like, can we continue this? Is there a fan base? And then I think Crystal is like the obvious, like, What else would you do? Make up a new character and hope that it's as popular as Crystal? No way.
Yeah, that's I guess the sequel to this.
Yeah, totally.
This isn't what I wanted from Star Fox, but I don't know. I'm not gonna say no to it. I'm curious who made it. I'm sure it's not first party. I think we can almost be certain, right? It's not like
I would imagine, but it looks like there's not an official site up. I don't think there's info. So Nick, as world's biggest Star Fox fan, where are you at? Worst case scenario, or is this you're happy to see it back, but you have some complaints, or where are you at overall?
Again, like I have some complaints because I think I don't want to say this was worst case scenario, but like everyone in like the Star Fox community, I guess I won't speak for everyone, but like people were so afraid that they were going to do 64 yet again. And I mean, this is as close as you can get. Yeah. And that's the thing, like maybe they are just kind of testing the waters, but I don't know. I mean, I'm going to get this for sure, but like, I don't know who this is for exactly, because like, if this does well, then maybe you continue from there. But again, like the other day I looked up Star Fox on the eShop and the only thing there is the Starlink Battle for Atlas DLC. Like that is it. So I think they just wanted something out as soon as possible, maybe. Like this, I don't know how long this was in development for, honestly. Like, if they're just remaking 64 again, like
it's, you could see it as the classic thing of like, let the team get the remake under their belt before they try and build something new. They got to understand the most popular DNA of Star Fox, which is this version,
Link's Awakening to Echoes of Wisdom path, right?
Yeah, something like that. Or even, how many times have they remade Halo now to try and get the Halo team? You get it under their wings.
But for who it's for, it's like fans of the Star Fox 64, and then kids who are coming home from the theater, who's Star Fox? Oh, here you go. That's who he is.
This guy is clearly Star Fox.
He doesn't look like that guy, and he sounds different, but that's him.
That's him. All right, sorry for the disjointed nature, but now on to the big show.
Good luck.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the MinnMax Show, place about games, friends, and getting better. I'm Ben Hansen. Thank you for being here. We have Jenna Garcia.
Hello.
Fresh new haircut, looking good.
Thanks. It's funny because on a podcast it looks literally the same because I have a black chair, so you can't really see my head,
trust me. It's not camouflage. It's great. We have Jacob Keller here.
What's your compliment for me, Ben?
I like the one strand of hair that's coming down. It looks thick as a noodle.
Thank you. I also got a haircut semi-recently, and so it doesn't all swoop back behind my headphones now.
Yeah, me and Jacob like to get our hair cut at the same time. It's like our special process.
I fly to LA here. So we can sit next to each other.
Yeah, so does Jeff also, but don't ask him about it.
Yeah, Kyle looks like Wolverine with this fancy haircut over there.
I do want to find someone who can do a beard trim. I don't want to go crazy. I'm not going Dan Reichert mode here, but I do want it to be like longish but trim,
Jeff Cork shaved his beard off. You should become the new Jeff Cork and like grow it way out. Yeah, Jeff Cork is.
It's kind of a Santa Claus situation with Jeff Cork. You put on the overalls and then.
We're also joined by special guest Kyle Adams from Spawn on Me.
What up? How you all doing?
Good. Welcome, sir. It's an honor to have you on the main show here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. It's been a long time coming. I know we've been battling in the back ends of all the social medias trying to make it happen, but I'm excited to be here rocking with y'all. I love your show.
Yeah. We had you on Trivia Tower a while back, and it's weird because you basically have met everybody before and worked with everybody before. To me, you're always just the really friendly guy at preview events, and you just seem to be absolutely everywhere. I don't know what your life is like. Is that it? You just get invited to everything for Spawn on Me?
No, I don't get invited to enough stuff, actually. I need more things. Give me more things. And also pay for my travel, because that really helps. It helps me to get there if you pay for the travel part. No, but it's great to get a chance to do all that stuff. And, I'm very lucky. I consider myself very lucky to be able to do all that cool stuff. So
yeah, it was nice at the Battlefield 6 event. You got to drop Spawn on Me is actually a Battlefield reference. Like, I feel like I extra deserve to be here compared to other people. It's kind of based my entire thing on what Battlefield 2 is your jam.
Yeah, exactly. See, you pulling tidbits already.
I got you.
It's definitely a part of the ethos of the brand, and I'm a big Battlefield fan, so that's where it came from for sure.
Where are you at? And we're gonna get into the main meat of the show here, but Battlefield 6. Yeah. I assume you enjoyed it when it launched. Where are you at right now? Where do you think it landed in like the ranking of Battlefields?
I mean, I think it's really good. I think they are still trying to figure out like where does Battlefield 6 kind of fit in the grand scheme of all shooters, which I think is a much larger question that people are still trying to figure out. But I do think, if you're a Battlefield purist, I think for me at least, I'm still enjoying it when I jump back in. It's not that difficult to understand how to shoot people. It's not that difficult to understand what you're PTFOing. If you know what that means, then, it's not that hard to kind of grok what you're supposed to be able to do in that space. But I have a blast every time I go in. It's always fun. It always feels good. And, they have nailed gunplay in a really smart way.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm excited to have you here finally on the big episode of the show because we got so much to talk about. We're going to be talking about Mixtape, the hot new release. We're diving in big. We're going to be talking about Saros a little bit more, a little check-in, see if people are still playing, where they're at with that thing overall. Dead as Disco, which is a game I'm excited to talk about. I want to dive into that one. NBA The Run. Speaking of preview events, this is like a remote preview event. And of course, I see Kyle jumping in the chat, being friendly in the chat, and like super encouraging for the developers. Immediately, like, of course he's here. Of course he's here. We should talk a little bit about changes at Xbox, the state of Xbox. I feel like I'm a little pent up. I want to just dabble on. I want to touch on that whole thing. And then back half of the show over there, we've got great questions from the community that they submitted on Patreon. Barn burner questions for everybody to dive into there. So we appreciate everybody making the show better in the back half of the show. Speaking of making the show better, thank you everybody for the nice comments on the new MinnMax Spotlight on Virtue and Sledgehammer that we've been talking about for a couple weeks now, where like Jacob Geller and I went to Spain, went to beautiful Valencia, and recorded 11 hours of footage chronicling the development of Virtue and Sledgehammer.
Thank God.
Yeah. Are you really going to sit down and like watch that extended cut, Janet?
Absolutely. I watched the first like 30 minutes or 40 minutes with dinner the other night. It's something I get to chip away at. You know, I get to watch 11 hours.
That is extreme commitment. Thank you. That's if you want the extended version of the Backstage Patch. But the main version is like 50 minutes long. There's a link in the description. Just go there, click on it, please, and just read some of the nice comments because it's really heartwarming to like work so hard on that project, fly all the way to Spain, spend a ridiculous amount of time editing it down, like Persona 5 levels of time to whittle that thing down, and to have.
So you never finished it. It's never been.
That's
done.
right. That's right. This one I actually crossed the finish line. No, we just have comments that are like, "Oh, this is my favorite piece of games coverage I've ever seen." You know, like if you value high effort games coverage where a lot of love and a lot of effort went into this thing, I'd appreciate it if you click that link, checked it out, help share it any way you can, because like the better that does, the more opportunities open for us to go visit other studios and document game development in that way that I think is pretty unique and rare with the MinnMax Spotlight. And so if you want to see Jacob and I eat wonderful Spanish food, break stuff with sledgehammers, or if you just want really unique insight into game development, like surely you're in one of those camps. So check out the description, click through. I'd appreciate it.
I love the fact that in the travelogue, us breaking things with sledgehammers, there's not like an intro to it. It's not like, and now we're gonna go do this. It's just kind of like literally smash cut to smashing things.
Yeah, with a surprise soundtrack, which editing that was kind of interesting. Like, do I reveal this soundtrack and where it's coming from? I think it's more fun to have it at the end of just like, oh, wait, that's where that whole thing was coming from. So surprises are in store there if you want to check it out. And if you want to help support independent games media, it connects to that, because if you support MinnMax on Patreon this week, before this coming Monday, so May 11th, if you are a brand new supporter and you jump in at the $5 tier, or if you upgrade to the Backstage Pass tier, the $10 tier, you get extended versions of a ton of our content, the Pissy Zone, the post-debate, Game of the Year debate, all that fun stuff. So if you upgrade to the $10 tier, or if you're a brand new $5 supporter, we will DM you with our biggest game code giveaway of all time. Because Deconstruct Team, the awesome indie studio that we profiled with that MinnMax Spotlight, they are sending out all of their games, all of their commercially released games. So it's Gods Will Be Watching, Red Strings Club, Essays on Empathy, Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood, and Many Nights a Whisper. I will DM all of those for you if you jump in before this coming Monday, May 11th at the $5 tier, or upgrade your tier. So thanks everybody, and thanks to Deconstruct Team for being super generous with that code giveaway. Mixtape. This is the most fun. This is the best place possible. Let's see. I finished it. Jacob, you finished it, correct?
Yep.
Okay, Janet, where are you at with Mixtape?
I finished it.
Awesome. Kyle, you're early?
I'm throwing rocks on a lake.
Okay, great. Maybe mid. And then, Kyle, you played it at SGF?
I played at SGF. I haven't played the full game yet.
Okay.
Soon.
Awesome. I'm excited to dive into this because like the embargo is not up as of the time of recording, and so we have no idea what everybody else thought. Just for a reminder for everybody, this is the coming of age story from Beethoven and Dinosaur. Their last game was Artful Escape. It's published by Annapurna. We talked about it from SGF last year, and it seemed to be the game of the show from SGF was kind of the takeaway, is people being like, Mixtape, you guys. I know you wouldn't expect it, but hamada.
I think Janet, was it for you? I can't. It definitely was for me. But I think the concern that I had there was like, is this just a game that demos really well?
Yeah.
Because it is like, it's just kind of a sequence of music videos. I was like, maybe I'm gonna get the whole game, and it won't be as fun as that SGF demo. But drum roll.
Please, Jacob, take it away. What do you think?
It rocks. I love it.
Yeah, Janet, are you in the same camp for Mixtape overall?
Yeah, like I had a similar feeling as Jacob, but mine wasn't so much that I was worried it wouldn't be as fun, because I felt like the structure was very clear. I also got to preview it a second time in LA where I played like a little bit more, but much of the same flavors. My big concern going in was, okay, but like what are they going to do with the story, and how are they going to like see it through?
Yeah.
And while I don't think there's like many, big surprises, I think what really makes this game special is that they give you just what you need. It's almost like, what if you could take the best parts of Life is Strange and make it like really snappy, really quick? It's like, sure, is it going to lean into some of the cliche? Yeah, they're teenagers. They're cliche. They're dramatic. They're making bad decisions. But it never like overstays its welcome in those spots, because it's like, boom, you're back into the action of what this is, which is like a game that's about how music plays with your life and how music can score a lot. And it's so many games have, especially in the narrative space, have like licensed OSTs, and they can be really impactful. But this is the first game that I've played where it's not just about like the music enhancing the moment. It's about like the music and the moments being in conversation with each other and like exploring what music does. So it's like about music in such a cool way.
It's super unique. I mean, the best pitch that I have for this game, I don't know if you had similar thoughts, but like it's so smooth, it wants you to keep going. It's there's no puzzles, there's no roadblocks really. It's just like, hey, go to this next area, click on this, here's a little mini game. It's like, it feels like What Remains of Edith Finch meets High Fidelity. It's like my weird pitch. Did you guys think of Edith Finch as you're playing this as well, for just like keeping you moving, constant variety, streamlined, let's keep it flowing?
I was thinking of Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Yeah,
that's the one that
I like that pull a little bit more, admittedly, because I feel like that is such a ride, and I think this game is more of a ride than like Edith Finch didn't come to mind because I feel like they're too different, but I understand the idea of variety.
Yes,
it does. They both share having variety as a key component of their games.
And it's and maybe it's taking the place of Edith Finch and I say this with all the love for the genre in the world, the least boring walking simulator.
Right.
Where it's like fundamentally this is a walking simulator. It's a game where a story happens while you more or less press, forward on the control stick, but like the variety they're able to wring out of the environments, the story, and most importantly, the music is just the biggest rec that I can give this game, I feel like, is I recorded the credits so I could immediately make a playlist of all the songs in the game. And I have been listening to it since I beat it.
Yeah, it is excellent. Like
it's artsy WarioWare.
Bigger, like not micro games. These are mini games. I mean, it's kind of like a big chunky thing. I guess even to call them mini games, it's kind of like little gameplay vignettes is probably the best way to put it. But like, as I was playing this, maybe like at the halfway point, because it's a shorter game. It's like 3.5 hours, somewhere just north of 3 overall. But like, as I was playing this, I was like, is this a Hall of Famer? Am I playing through? And I'm still wrestling with it. But after finishing it, I just feel like if you want an interactive experience about graduating high school and that phase of life, like, I don't think you can top Mixtape. It's not trying to tell the biggest, most grand story. It's like a simple story, super simple gameplay, but it's so pure and affecting that it's like, this is just as good as this type of thing can get, I think.
I put on my marketing hat for this stuff too, and I think of the like as advertised kind of version of a thing, right? Like, it's been very, very consistent in terms of what you had an expectation to get and what you wind up getting at the end of it, right? So I think of how it reminds me so much of so many of the 90s movies that I grew up on, and early aughts movies that I loved, because it hits all of those moments where I loved how you talk about it just kind of pulls you through this entire story, and it doesn't really stop you. It doesn't really ask you to kind of sit and think with it. It really is just like, we're going to go on an adventure and do that thing. So it feels like Can't Hardly Wait or something like that for me, or in those spaces where you're kind of just seeing all the pieces,
yeah,
and you're getting little peeks into all of it, and then being like, oh, we're just going to go together and figure out what this is. And that's fantastic, because that doesn't really happen that often these days in the ways that game stories are kind of given, and that specific time in people's lives outside of that genre of game that they have kind of already nailed, that don't nod layer of stuff. So it's like, that's awesome to see that they kind of nailed that in a big way.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the kind of scale of this game behind the scenes, because like it has indie energy, and like the Artful Escape was kind of a much more like, okay, this is like a really cool 2D game about music or whatever, but at the same time this game feels expensive.
Oh my god.
It looks really, really good. Like, I think we should not undersell how nice the game looks, and it's kind of it is playing in the Life is Strange area of like lots of golden hours, lots of kind of like big western forests, or like Pacific Northwest forest and whatever, but like they've got the whole variable frame rate thing going on the characters, and then it's just like the environments are huge, because often the song is like you're skating through a place, or you're running really fast, or you're flying, and you keep going through unique environments. And then on top of that, it has like 25 licensed songs in it, many of which are big and expensive. And I just like, it's a real, like, I would love to know probably more than we ever will about like the pie chart breakdown of this game's budget and how much was music. It's really, for a 3.5 hour game, I don't actually know what price it's launching at.
I mean, it's on Game Pass, I know for sure.
Oh, is that right?
It is on Game Pass. But like, it's cool because a lot of times these kind of single sitting games, you can feel the like budget constraints, and this just feels like it's like they wanted to make basically a movie length game, and they did that, and you don't feel them cutting corners anywhere in it.
The thing that I left with this after getting my demo was, this is the first game in a long time that I would love to see as a platform, as a movie telling, as a storytelling platform. Because I was like, oh, Mixtape, I get this version of what this story is. I love the way that they're kind of chronicling this moment in time in a human's life, and this very specific, like, oh, we're going to college, we're leaving high school, doing that thing. And I was like, man, I want to see a version of Juice in this engine. I want to see a version of this movie or this story that's in that space through this kind of analog, through this visual representation of what this game is. And it could work. It would work in so many different stories and work with so many different avenues for telling those narratives. I was like, man, if we could just bottle that up in some form or fashion, tweak it a little bit so it doesn't look exactly the same, but like keep that format in some way. There are so many dope stories that can be told within that space through what they're doing at Beethoven and Dinosaur.
I think too, like Ben, to your point about the Finch comparison, I do also see it in the thread of magical realism, which is like part of what really makes this game special. Which again, Life is Strange kind of gets into that, but Life is Strange is more playing in like actual like powers and like actual fantastical things happening. It does such a good job at towing that line between like some things are actually happening and then some things are conveying a feeling of what happened.
Right.
So you'll have like the realisticness of like you're at the convenience store getting a slushie, but then like the fantasticalness of like we have to cross a forest. What if we were like just skating and floating through it and having this like magical feeling together? Jacob, to your point about the look, I love the mixed media approach they have here to certain parts of like the FMV and like the photographs kind of piled on top of each other. And they I think what's great about this game is that they have so much restraint. I think that's also was my concern going in. It's like, is it going to kind of overstay its welcome? Is it going to kind of peter out? Is it going to spend too much time in one thing? And they have like such a good pacing and momentum. The other thing I want to bring up is with these games, a lot of times, usually people that don't play games like this say, well, like, what's the difference between playing it and watching? Can't I just kind of look at it? And I think something that really spoke to me about the gameplay element of this is that, like, it puts you, at least this is how I felt, I'm curious how you guys did, in a position of like role playing as the characters for moments, because there are a lot of things where, another smart thing about the game, they let you leave certain things early if you want to, or like you have like a minimum to hit, you know, it's like in the photo booth, you have to take the pictures. You could take the pictures like in 2 seconds if you just keep hitting like R2 over and over again. But like I really wanted to like have a playful moment between the two characters. So I was like orchestrating the photograph. There's a moment where you're making slushies and one character makes it and then another character does. And when I was doing it, I'm like, what flavors do I think this character would gravitate towards?
Yes, that's the level
and it's
of choice,
stuff like that where it's like, I think someone could look at that and say, I don't know, you're just hitting a button and then slushy goes into the thing. It's like, yeah, but it's about like in what ways are they evoking play, and what does play mean in their video game specifically? And it's something I think the genre is really like cool at exploring and does it in more dynamic ways than I think of a lot of other genres. And it's part of what I think makes this like a really great video game. It's like, sure, you can get a lot from just watching it. Like, I'm not going to lie to you, but the act of playing it, it's the fun and excitement of like, ooh, what new thing are they going to delight me with? And then getting to engage in that is so satisfying.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not... I thought it was going to be building towards like big narrative decisions, and it's not that type of game. Don't think of it like that. Like Janet's right. Like you need to be playful if you want to role play it and make like those smaller decisions. But like my overall sense of this game is enjoying it and just like Jacob mentioned earlier, being blown away by the production values. Even like that photo booth sequence where it's like, hey, I played Last of Us as DLC. I remember photo booth sequences in big, expensive games. And yet this one where you're controlling like the two characters' heads in there and you can like collide them and it's like full physics as their faces rub against each other. Genuinely, I was like just gobsmacked. Or even, we talked about SGF last year, like, oh, there's a flashback to like a makeout scene and you're literally controlling the two tongues. And as we talked about that on the podcast, I was like, okay, I think I know what that's going to look like. And it's a pretty jank indie game. And it's like,
no, you didn't.
The best looking tongues, it looks better than my real tongue. And they're better at making out than I am too. It's just like, everything looks so much damn better than you expect this entire game. It's blowing me away.
I want to heap some praise on the song selection.
Yeah.
Which it's like, I'm not the biggest, I don't have like a deep music knowledge, but for me, it really tread a great line of like, okay, some of these songs we've all heard a million times. Some of these songs I've heard once or twice.
Yes.
And then a lot of the songs had never heard at all. And you know, for this kind of thing, I also think it's like, it's fun. So the narrative shtick, which we didn't really say, is that the main character has or like put together a mixtape for this night. She's like, I've got it all planned out. I've decided all the songs that are going to go along with the night. And so as you go through the story, which does take place over kind of one day with flashbacks, you're just getting these songs kind of pieced out to you. And it's like, her thing is she knows the perfect song for every moment. And sometimes that's, you got the touch, which delightfully she points out this song was written for the Transformers animated movie, which I did not know.
Oh, really?
So
oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then sometimes it's going to have, like, here's a Portishead song. And sometimes it's going to be like, yeah, I've never heard of this guy. And now I am going and listening to this album because I think it's like it communicates like, this was made by people who, have the same passion for music that the main character does, because I don't think you could come by this playlist, by committee. It's like they're very interesting personal picks.
So like the creative director,
you're talking about not ever learning sort of the financials of it, Jacob, which is probably true, but not to like plug too much, but like in the Soul Frame issue of Game Informer, Charles Hart did a big feature where he interviewed Johnny Galvatron about Mixtape ahead of its release and stuff. And I was looking through it, I was like, did we talk about numbers? But one thing that he does talk about is like the game is about a music supervisor. Mm-hmm. So when they called up a music supervisor to get help to license all the music, they're like, you're making a game about us? Like, yeah, like we're going to help you.
That's so sweet.
And then like the other thing is like, because she's so obsessed with all these bands, like Devo, who's like a group that doesn't really like to license out its music very much, we're like, oh wait, so the character in the game is like, Devo's the best band of all time. Right. Yeah, like you can go ahead and use that. And it's like Galvatron just talked about like that's the director, by the way. He just talked a little bit about that process. And I just, that idea really charmed me of the music supervisor being like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this was me. Like I'm gonna help you do this. We're gonna get all the best music because of this.
We can get Iggy Pop song for maybe half the price at this point. But like real quick on the Johnny Galvatron front. First of all, Galvatron, another Transformers reference. So you talk about You Got the Touch, it's double Transformers there. But then also he was in a band, like he knows making music so intimately. And so when one of the characters in this game, they talk about kind of how, I don't know, just core to your identity, the music that you create is. It's like that's coming from a sincere place. And also like the Galvatrons, one of their biggest songs was called When We Were Kids. It's like, oh, this kind of just feels like the entire game is an interpretation of that song and that theme that clearly he's passionate about.
Did they specify a year? Did I miss that? Did they say what year?
It's kind of generic 90s because there are a couple references where I was like, did that happen in the 90s? Or they have a phrase and I'm like, I don't think that would have said that in the 90s, but whatever. It's smudgy.
I'm not nitpicking. I was more just like, man, because there are moments where I'm like, man, I remember this feels like my room. This feels like hanging out with my friends. I was still in that era between physical like tapes and CDs moving into MP3. Yeah. So like I have a lot of memories of like trying to record things on tape and rewinding tapes. Like I was just kind of on that cusp, and so I was trying to figure out if what year it was. But yeah, generic 90s is like that sounds about right.
And also on the CD front, I love that obviously CDs are a big part of this entire game, and it's Brutal Legend-esque in how like the menus and stuff are working with CDs. But I love that even on the pause screen, it's like a CD in the background, and it just has that like CD whirring sound. It's like, oh my god, it just feels like old games. Listening to old CDs, it's like weird to be nostalgic about just like that basic tech sound coming through this game. Do you think people are going to be cynical about this? Because like Janet mentioned, like sometimes they're obnoxious. They're teenagers. Sometimes they're a little, annoying in how they talk about the world, but I think that's intentional.
I'm a little cynical about it, but not from the characterization and the writing. Yeah. Like I love the writing, I love the characterizations. I just struggle in general with more passive video game experiences because it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm watching a cutscene, but I kind of want to get to the gameplay. Yeah. And then when I'm in the gameplay, I'm like, well, I'm not really challenged here, and like my sort of incentive to get back to the story is to like is just to move past this. And so like sometimes I just struggle with that on a base genre level. Yeah. But like I am really sort of sucked in by like the story and the characters, and like the writing is great, and I love the dynamic of the three and learning about them, and like I love her, like she has a little bit of an accent in the way she talks. It's almost like that kind of like that like tinge of like Romy and Michelle's high school reunion is kind of like sneaking in there a little bit in a way that I really love. So like that element of the game, I'm really liking. I like this as well, but I'm not quite like over the moon for it. I'm having a good time with it.
I think if I had, I overall, I had a great time. I think there are criticisms of the writing, not in that they're annoying teenagers, but sometimes it just feels like it is an adult writing.
Yes.
They all speak kind of very, very, punk flowery in the same way. Like all three characters, it's like there will be a lot of lines like, I want to ride a burning stallion of delinquency. Mm-hmm. And it's like any of the three characters could have said that.
Yes.
And they all kind of do.
Something I didn't really like about their last game.
Yeah.
It was a lot of random, just like, sort of abstract language that didn't really mean anything.
Yeah, and you can make the pass of like, well, they're best buds, so of course their language is going to...
I like it here. It works for me here.
And sometimes they will talk in a way that is just kind of, this is adults reflecting on teenagerness, where they're like, when you're a teen, you don't have a relative scale of how important things are, so everything feels big. And I'm like, that's a realization I had now. I didn't realize that, when I was like 17. But at the same time, it's totally playing in that like John Hughes era. Mm-hmm. And like, that's how kids in the Breakfast Club talked. There was all sorts of kind of like, I am giving wisdom on the age that I am now. And so even while I have quibbles with it, it's hard. It's still a part of the genre that kids talk in this kind of overly wise and poetic way about their own age.
And specifically,
so tell me why you hate Dawson's Creek, because it's literally Dawson's Creek speech in that way.
As they say, it's a language, my favorite subtitle language. But like it definitely falls into that trap, you know, of just like, what does it really mean to be a teenager? It's like, how often did you have those conversations as a teenager? Maybe 1.5 times, kind of, you know.
Earning
but like,
loudness, you know, was one that kind of stuck out to me as like,
right. But I like there are.
But
like
that is also I kind of like it's like I think they kind of
like
hit
the
that
earning
balance.
loudness.
it's not a complaint.
Well, yes,
to
because
be clear, like I like it. I like that sort of
but
like
it's a lot.
Retroactive reflecting on being a teenager because like that's who I am now.
But
like,
also like the earning
I wanna see
loudness
stories
thing.
like that.
It is like I love that because it's like that's such a head ass stupid take that you would have as a teen and be like, no, it's deep. This means something to me, and it's like, all right, girl, like you know. I think they balance out the like sometimes weird tone as well by having like, I don't know, lines that are like really introspective and sweet and interesting. Like I had a screenshot of one of them saying, oh, no one like they're kind of talking about like you have this vision of changing to this better person, but no one wants to actually change, and you make me feel like I don't have to. It's like, oh, that's so like sweet. But then they also have things that are really just dumb because they're young and dumb. And I think that helps stomach both, where it's like if you're cringed out by the dumbness, you have some depth. And if you're cringed out by the depthness, you have some dumb, and they kind of nicely inform each other. I think if I had to give a critique of the game, it would be that sometimes the feel isn't exactly what I want from what I'm seeing on screen. And by that, I mean, there's moments where you are sliding, but I don't feel like I'm sliding.
Sure.
Super small stuff, but like, that's probably, if I had to give a complaint, I think that would probably be my only one. And that doesn't occur that often, but there are times where it's like, I don't feel the physicality of it as much, where I kind of feel like the studio is maybe limited on if you're going to show it in a certain way, how much can you make it have like this feeling of physicality while also having the grandiosity of the visuals. Again, didn't really affect my enjoyment of it, but if I had to pick something, that's what I would pick.
I'm with you where it's weird to be like critiquing the visuals and the feel. It's like, well, I think some of like the skateboarding tricks look a little too breezy, but it's also in a game with so many surreal elements. So I'm like, I don't really care. I almost would prefer if it didn't have the skateboarding tricks, which are optional, so you can just choose.
And it's not like
and
going
it's
for
like
a high score or trying to beat an enemy.
Yeah,
so it's like
whatever.
Yeah, and it's like if you don't like the skateboarding, you do it like 3 times. You know, if you don't like the sliding, it's in one platforming sequence. So it's like nothing is a problem that sticks around
because the sliding and the platforming felt pretty decent, but the other slide where you're like third person didn't feel as good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to get that.
No, I hear you.
Sliding's really important to me, so I had to make that distinction.
But I think throughout the entire game, I was like just blown away by the production values. And then it's like in the back half, there are a couple shots where I'm like, why does this not look as good? Is it missing a filter on a different frame rate? Like some shots just look like impeccable. Like this isn't even a video game. This is unbelievable. Then a couple of them, like I can feel that this is a video game now, which is like, you know, it's almost damn because the first half of the game I think is so polished and looks so amazing. There's just a couple.
I mean,
like,
we're in nitpick mode.
oh, we are just drowning in nitpicks at that point. And my biggest thing, other than the production values overall, and this is kind of tied into it, is specifically the art team. Like Jacob mentioned it, but like the environments in particular, I'm like, how is this so big? Like the art team, the animation team, the environment team, unbelievable. Because you're going down these hills for so long. Like you had to build out so much of this world. You're flying over like the entire town. Like I cannot imagine building that out. And then I'm looking at the credits and it's like, one person's listed for environment art? Like what?
Yeah,
what
I
is
noticed that
happening?
too.
How is this possible? It really does not compute.
Contractors? Question mark?
Could
That's
be.
always
Yeah,
But not that many listed in the credits.
Right. Either these are true magicians who worked on this for a very, very long time, or there's just a lot of people that aren't listed in the credits. Because like, it reminded me even of like Uncharted 4, the big chase sequence where you're going down the hill. You know, like it felt like that at times. Like this is so much effort to make this. Like that's Naughty Dog, and this is like a small team. It's like how the hell did they make all this?
And that zoom in, zoom outness of it is so charming as well, where again, this is where I keep going back to the pacing of it being so good, where it's like there are times where it's like I'm flying through the entire city. I've seen everything these kids have ever seen in their life. And then I'm in a video store. And it's like, and that feels so good to go between those like differentiated environments and for them to each like have their own offerings is really nice.
I never really got a good handle on how long this game has been in development too, because I keep forgetting. You know, they came off of Artful Escape, which was fantastic, and then you know, were they doing some of this in tandem with some of this, you know, in the mix literally while they were doing something else? Like,
yeah, because Artful Escape came out in 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And I remember, I mean, we saw an advertisement for this like a while ago.
Yeah.
But like, Not that long. With the length of video game production nowadays, I hear 5 years, and I'm like, damn, they did all this in 5 years.
Right, I know.
Good job.
It's weird,
Yeah,
but
and it does bring back to like the idea of what Annapurna has been doing, right? Like I as a person who, when you talk about like studios or publishers who can't miss at this point, Annapurna for me is one of those crews of just like they curate such a fantastic portfolio across the board for me, where I'm just like, damn, like how did you pull this?
I hear you.
Where were you?
There was there were the big layoffs of people leaving a while ago, and this is one of those games that was kind of in the pipeline. So I'm worried about what Annapurna is going to look like over the next 5 years. But definitely, in the beginning, as like you're skateboarding down the hill, listening to Devo, and like the characters are snapping their fingers with the beat, and then it says published by Annapurna. I'm like, no. You almost don't need to put that. Like, I understand the tone here. It's the most Annapurna-ass game possible,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, didn't like most of the staff resign?
There was a big.
Yeah, they had a huge bit of like labor drama with them. But even outside of that, it's like not to say like I feel the opposite of Annapurna, because I don't. Like when I see Annapurna, my like ears do perk up because I do like a lot of their games. But I also think for some reason, like when they hit, it hits so hard that for me, they're absolved of any game they published that I didn't like. Because yes, I love Cocoon, but like I didn't like Thirsty Suitors, I didn't like 2 at Sea, I didn't think this. But like I mostly remember like the things that I love the most about them, which is like I don't know, maybe they've just made enough special games or like the games that hit are very hard. Yes, where it's like I remember what I like, but not what I don't like. Exactly.
Like they have a type of game that you kind of know it when you see it, but it's kind of hard to like explain, which is cool.
But then they publish a bunch of other games as well. But then it's like, oh, I kind of forgot that was you, and that maybe that's for the best. Like I don't know.
But I also give them a lot of credit because I think like yes, all the turnover was not great, and there was some conversation between the big mothership and the games layer of it, which was the reason why the kind of split happened. But I think the thing that I give them so much credit for is in a space where it feels like we are consistently talking about the sameness of games at this point. They are consistently trying new shit.
Yes.
And they're consistently trying to add new things to the portfolio that feel different. Even if they don't hit in the same ways for each one of us in various parts of it, I have to give them credit for trying to add new things to the space and finding developers who are doing that thing and actually giving them a space to grow. Yep. Or at least to be able to be seen in a way that, again, like the Devolvers are in that space and a couple of others, but there are not a big a grouping of indie pubs who are making those pushes with real budget, with real promotion, and doing that kind of stuff. So I got to give them props for that at least.
For sure. And zooming into the developers here in particular, like it is so comforting and exciting to play a game, and within the first 10 minutes you just have this feeling of like this game can do anything. It is so abstract sometimes with its presentation. It is just so thrilling to be like, I have no idea what it's going to show me. I know this game is going to take some weird big swings, and that's like the best feeling, just to jump into a game knowing that you're going to be blown away by some of their choices. And they certainly are bold for some of the stuff that they pack in here. I mean, one of my favorites of the year for sure. I'd have to go back and look, but Janet, I mean, as a big fan of this genre, is this like your game of the year at this point? Can you frame it in any way? Like,
I'm not sure. It might be.
Yeah.
It might be. I'm kind of
over Slay the Spire 2?
So we gotta talk about Slay the Spire 2 on the side. I don't know. Are we doing early access for the 2?
We gotta.
Yeah.
If everyone, I don't want to get too in the weeds. If I'm putting Slay the Spire 2, no, Slay the Spire 2 is better than probably any game that's coming out this year. So, but ignoring Slay the Spire 2, it's up there, like tied against like Pragmata and oddly enough Dogpile that came out in December. I really liked that game a lot, and I think that game is super sick. But this is really high up there, and it's definitely like an absolute must play for narrative fans. It's just a delight to play. They execute really well, and I was very pleased especially in this space. I think it's very easy to be good at the beginning and not see it like follow through, because it's like, again, it's a story, it has story in it. So it's like, well, if you mess with the story, you kind of end up ruining the whole game. It's not like Mario where I'm like, I didn't like that one world, but the rest was fine. Like you kind of need the all of it. And I'm just really happy that like, at least for me, and it seems like kind of everybody here, they did it. It seemed great and it was great. And now we have this great video game to point to for people that want this kind of experience.
Yep, absolutely. It's out on everything. And to answer your question, Jacob, I believe it's $20.
I think $20.
Okay,
which is a great price for this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mixtape, name of that game. There we go. Do you remember everybody how Stacy in the game? She always has headphones on.
Yeah.
But they're like clunky 90s headphones that just probably sounded like garbage. You know what Stacy Rockford needs? Well, a lot in her life, but specifically Raycon, baby. This message is, of course, sponsored by Raycon. Raycon's Everyday Earbud Classic. They're packed with upgrades. They've got active noise cancellation and a super comfortable ergonomic design that stays put no matter what you're doing. And they have brand new colors for the Raycon Everyday Earbuds Classic. Janet, if you had to choose between Blush Violet or Cool Mint, what would you choose?
Blush Violet.
Okay, correct. That's the obvious choice. But here's the kicker, as they point out. Raycon delivers the same premium audio quality as the big brands, but at half the price. And you add in over 3 million happy customers and a 30-day happiness guarantee. There's zero reason to overpay. Kyle, have you ever had a happiness guarantee in your life?
No, never.
Well, that's what Raycon can help
could
you
use
with,
some.
buddy. That's right. The Everyday Earbuds Classic are the perfect addition to your everyday routine. Go to buyraycon.com/MinnMax to get 15% off. That's buyraycon.com/MinnMax, 15% off. Link in the description. Thanks, Raycon, for sponsoring this episode of the MinnMax Show. Saros continues to dominate hearts and minds of gamers everywhere. How are you feeling about Saros? How much time have you put in? Where are you at overall with this thing?
I'm probably towards the back half of the game. I'm probably have put in a good 30 hours or so because I keep dying. It is it's extremely good. It is a very good game. Shout out to Rahul Cooley, who is just one of the dopest folks on the planet, both in real life and in game.
So maybe not his character.
No, not his character. His character is very his character is very one note in the game. It is very high. Is that a lot?
Right.
Well, you'll learn a little bit more about
Good
it.
impression.
Oh,
it's almost Resident. No, I'm sorry. What are you buying? It's almost that.
That's how he gets in the zone. Like every time, he's like, what are you buying? Looking in the mirror.
Space. It's a little bit of what are you selling? What are you buying? It's a little bit of that. But I am in love with this game. I think this game is stunning. I'm a huge Housemarque fan. I think they continue to make some of the most fun games, even though it is super frustrating if you are not, have the dexterity to be able to kind of play those games in those ways. But man, this thing just pops off the screen. I think what I love about Housemarque games is it does a thing that I think a lot of PlayStation games continue to fail at, which is showcasing the DualSense controller.
Yeah.
There are so many games that should be featuring the feature set of this controller and the way that you do all the haptics in it and all that stuff. And that moment when you start to play this game and you figure out the half pull versus the full pull on the trigger, because I'm a weirdo who I play a lot of shooters on my PlayStation, and I'm constantly having the trigger pulls as fast as you can get them because you don't want that throw to be as long so that you can shoot faster. You have a little bit of an advantage over your opponents. This is one of those games where you have to actually turn it back down all the way to neutral, right? All the way down to its lowest setting. So you actually get the full versions of a half pull versus a full pull of the trigger. So because for folks who aren't knowledgeable about that part, in the game, your weapons have basically two modes. You have a full auto mode or the fullest pull of a throw does one specific move, your kind of super move, and then a half pull on the controller does an alternative fire on the weapon that you have. And those alternative fires, because you are picking up different weapons and have different permutations, change how you shoot. But it feels so different in the way that you're playing that game and the thought process of doing the bullet dance while also figuring out what weapon you want, what enemies you're trying to shoot, and then because it's random, what variation of enemies are going to be put in front of you at the moment. It is the most beautiful bullet dance thing that you can see right now, and it's just stunning to look at. It is gorgeous. It's so pretty.
Yeah, it is weird to have implemented well. It feels like there's a whole new button on the controller, even though it's just half pressing one of the existing PlayStation buttons we've had forever.
Well, it's funny because it and Returnal are the only games that come to mind that even take advantage of that in sort of a mechanical way. Yeah, I can't really think of anyone else.
I'm trying to remember if Ratchet and Clank did.
Well, there are other games that do it, but they don't actually fully feature it, right? It's like if you do a half pull, it'll stop you from doing a thing, right? They add different variations of here's what it feels like when your gun jams, but not what the difference is when you actually pulling the trigger and feeling what that tension is. So it winds up being this differentiation between what am I feeling? What do I need to do? And what are the constraints in the moment? And I think that those three things balance themselves out really well in Saros that I think are something that I think people need to check out and play for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a couple weeks since we talked about it. And am I painting with too broad of a brush to say, Kyle, you heated up on it, and Jacob, you cooled on it? Is that my 1,000-foot read? Is that where we're at overall?
I don't know if I heated up. I thought I was pretty consistent.
You were hot. You were hot, dude.
Yeah.
Hot. But you got the plat.
Yeah, you got the plat.
I got the platinum.
Kyle.
I know. I was very proud of myself. I don't really. I only go after like trophies and achievements if I'm just like excited to have an excuse to keep playing the game.
Yeah.
Right. And this was one where I was like, I don't want to put this down yet. Like, so I went after I got the platinum. So I think I put like 80 hours or something totally. It's interesting because I think that's inflated quite a bit from just like leaving the game on and walking away and doing work and stuff. But also I couldn't see the trophies for like 90% of my playthrough. So like I was just playing to try to like, unlock little story bits, like all the enemy types. If you kill enough of them, like you get a little their sort of description gets fully filled out. And I'm here to report that I gleaned nothing additional from getting everyone's fully translated enemy sort of descriptions. But yeah, I guess I was pushing back in just the sense that I was like, I kind of knew where I stood and I continued to stand there, and I like Saros a lot, and I think it's my game of the year. It's like it and Pragmata are kind of the two that I'm sort of are arguing for me right now.
Yeah. Jacob, I mean, I don't know if I'm judging too much, but you're just kind of like, I don't know, I haven't really thought about it since beating it. It was kind of your take, right?
Yeah, I'm letting comparison be the thief of joy little bit, in that I keep thinking about the things I like in Returnal more. But I do think we talked a little last time we talked about this, about how it kind of is and isn't a roguelike, and like, I think that the game has kind of been, a lot of the design directions that they moved in made it less of a game that I am interested in replaying as much as I did with Returnal.
Sure.
Like the world randomization is turned down enough that kind of, if they didn't say, like they straight up say like, oh my God, it's like the world's changing every time I'm out here, kind of the, roguelike thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really feel like that. It feels like the levels are pretty much the same every time you go through them.
What does that mean? I mean, I remember even with Eternal, it's like, okay, this chunk. It kind of felt like I could feel the level editor and be like, okay, now this environment, now this environment.
Yeah.
You're right. This doesn't feel like there's a level editor. It just feels like it's the same. It just feels like the same kind of path through the level every time. Yeah. And in Returnal, it was incentivized to move around within the levels. You would kind of maybe you'd save health somewhere and then you would go back and get it later. Returnal had like a money system within the game where you would gather money and then you would go back to the store and buy upgrades. Saros doesn't have any of that. So you go through the levels in one line and then you just kind of leave, and that's how you interact with them. And there are just a number of things that I think make it less interesting to kind of endlessly go through than Returnal. I think the weapons are unfortunately a big step down. We didn't really talk about that last time, Kyle, but
Interesting.
If you think about the weapons in Returnal, there is nothing like the Hollow Seeker in this game. There is nothing like the electro pylon.
That's the smart rifle,
gun. No, it's not. The Hollow Seeker was like making like black holes that were shooting lasers out of them. It's just like this game has like, it has like 3 types of rifles and 3 types of pistols and 3 types of shotguns, and it's like they get a lot of variety out of that, but it doesn't feel kind of as cool and as alien. Yeah. And so it's just kind of like,
comparing it to Returnal, I'm totally with you in that like the Saros ends, and so I'm not going to spoil anything obviously, but I feel like I know what happened in Saros at this point, if that makes sense, right? Like I don't really question what happened. And I know the interpersonal relationships of the characters. It's very opaque. It's not like, it doesn't spell it out, but like I've spent a lot of time with the game at this point, so I know what happened. And it's like, okay, that happened. Returnal is one that Jacob, you and I are on the same page. I'm sure. Like to this day, I'm still like, what happened to Celine? Like what went on there? What was real? What wasn't? Is she still there right now? Like that's kind of how I feel about Returnal, where I don't get that from Saros, but obviously there's plenty that I still take away from the game and love and still contemplate to a certain degree. Yeah.
Yeah, it is funny, Jacob,
so
to have you lowering into a vat of of sourness. Because like if you flash back to the last podcast, you're like, oh, it's awesome. Obviously, you should play it.
Nothing I said last podcast do I disagree with now, but I do just think to me, it functions more as a linear game that I played through and am done with than a roguelike. And it's just kind of an expectation setting thing of like, Kyle, you said you played 80 hours of this. Like I played 20 hours and I got the true ending. And like, I have not had a desire to go back and play more because it just feels like I played all the levels, in a way that I don't often feel when it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to try a new build this time.
Do you feel like that with Returnal anyway? Because that's the same thing for Returnal with me. Like games like this, I don't really find a real reason to go back. After the story's done, I'm not trying to 100% them or try to find some new permutation. Like if there is a new game plus that adds some new weaponry to a thing, then I may go back to it. But like games like this in this genre currently don't feel like they afford a lot of like replayability in that way. What are your thoughts about that for Returnal stuff?
Because Returnal was more of a roguelike in that you only had 2, even though there were 6 worlds, you only had 2 starting points. And so you were kind of doing like runs more and you'd be like, oh, this is, like I'm going to pick up all the kind of corruption seeds that emphasize my melee combat here. And this you're just kind of playing one level at a time in a way that makes it feel just more like a level game and less like a roguelike, what's your build this time game. They're both, neither of them have like an enormous amount of build variety, but I just felt like I was, kind of doing these longer runs in Returnal felt a little kind of crunchier and they were offering me more each time rather than Saros.
I didn't really think about that until you shared that part, because now thinking back on my time with it, the fact that you have this very specific level select in the beginning of your runs changes that a lot. Because I think when I think of the replayability parts, it's less about me getting better at those specific runs or finding something specific that I need to do in those parts. It's more about, can I level my weapons up, the ones that I have found and like, can I level my weapons up enough that when I get to that part of the game that I'm stuck on, or that is the next part of my progression, am I strong enough to finish that boss fight fast? And that part feels like that's what's happening in Saros as opposed to Returnal in that way. So yeah, that totally makes a ton of sense. That makes a ton of sense.
And I think just in terms of like taste, right? Video game taste and what you like, I think that's why Saros has clicked for me so strongly, is because like there's a lot of stuff I don't like about roguelikes or roguelites, like in general. And like Saros like lets me bypass those things that annoy me. Like I like having a level select because I don't like having to play a slightly different version of the same level over and over. I don't want to fight the same bosses over and over. It's why Hades is like a roguelike that doesn't really click for me because it's so repetitive. And Saros eliminates some of that at the sort of expense of maybe standing next to the genre as opposed to inside of it. But like that works for me. Like I'd rather have that, Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm glad people out there are digging it. I always am curious to see the conversations in the MinnMax Discord about it and stuff like that. It seems like a fascinating one. I definitely want to.
It's the rare game that when they have DLC, right? Like I'll be there immediately. Like I just want an excuse.
I will be too, to be clear. And I hope they put in that endless tower earlier rather than later, because that's what I want to be doing. Yeah. Like I do just want to be running and shooting. Because that's what they got so perfectly.
I wonder if they're.
I asked them about DLC, and they said, we're just talking about Saros right now. So
PlayStation. I wonder if they are going to dabble with the co-op, like Returnal, where they eventually added co-op, right, in DLC? Or was that just an update? I'm trying to remember. But
it was just a kind of they introduced the Endless Tower and the co-op at the same time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'd be fun. They could go so many directions with this. Just like Did As Disco can go so many directions. A game that is now out in early access. I think we talked about it a little bit before. This is the easiest pitch is imagine like Batman Arkham Combat, except it's to the beat of "You're a maniac, maniac." Like if that image in your mind and everything happening on the beat is riling you up, like Dead as Disco is the game for you. Absolutely. It really can grab you from a simple gameplay video or just getting your hands on it a little bit. But it is early access. And Jacob, you were saying extreme early access at this point, or relatively extreme.
Yes, I was actually kind of confused because they sent out a code and they were like, here's your review code. And it's like, it doesn't have like a lot of the levels. Like you look at the level screen and it's like a bunch of them are locked off and they're like, I don't know, not done yet, maybe, or maybe they're going to be something else. But like, it still kind of feels like an extended proof of concept at this point. But look, the idea is dynamite.
Yes.
Like it truly is. It is Arkham Combat, but in the Hi-Fi Rush way. Like all your hits are landing on the beat, and if you are in fact playing on the beat, then your hits are going to do more damage. You know, you're going to be excelling at the game, and the enemies are also attacking on the beat. And so if you're paying attention to that, it's easier to get, you know, kind of your perfect parries off and dodge the things and everything. The idea is so good. It just feels very work in progress,
which it is
to me,
you know,
in terms of what the well, yeah, but it's not like they have 4 levels here and you're kind of like, oh, so those 4 levels are done. And the answer is like, kinda, you know, where it's kind of a boss rush in that each level that you play is you'll fight a number of enemies and then the boss will just show up and then you have a boss fight. And that's how all 4 levels work. And one of the good things about it is that the musical variety is really different. You know, like it has a, you know, it's not just this is a rock game or this is, you know, like an electro game. It's like the bosses are, you basically have a K-pop boss, a rap boss, a metal boss, and kind of a like rock, you know, casual, you know, alt rock boss or whatever. And the songs are different and cool and original and everything, but it is just kind of like the levels start, you fight these bosses. Weirdly, for a game about sound, the sound design is pretty like absent. You know, it's like nothing really makes noises except for the punching. So there are sequences where like, you know, a cool animated sequence where it's like, oh my gosh, I, you know, dodged a car that was coming at me and it went off a ramp and hit a giant statue and then the statue fell on a guy. And like all of that plays with no sound effects other than the song happening. And so it feels less like the song is a part of the game and more like you're just kind of like you have a song playing over whatever the game is. The levels just kind of end. You know, it's like as soon as you beat the boss, it's just kind of like, and done, high score. And like the difficulty is kind of all over the place in a way that really feels like it needs to be, you know, pulled in. And so it's like, I've gone back and played those 4 levels several times because I'm having a good time with the game. But like it just feels more work in progress than we've gotten used to early access games like Hades 2 and Slay the Spire 2 and whatever coming out and being like, this is a done game. And this is not that.
Yep. Has anybody else been playing it?
Yeah, it is one of my favorite experiences I've had this year so far.
Oh, hey, there we go.
Like, I agree with everything you said. Everything is completely on point. But I remember I've seen a lot of it on social, and I was like, all right, any game where you can add your own music to a thing.
Yeah, you can upload.
I'm immediately like, I want to see what that's about. And seeing people put in Michael Jackson songs and putting in all these other things and having people fight with that being the background was in the mix. And I was like, oh my God, like how are you putting this in and making this actually work? And then playing it yesterday, because it was the first time I got a chance to play it, and I was immediately hooked for what this thing is trying to do. Yeah, there's some parts of it that I think are definitely early access stuff, but like that hip hop level, the way they do some interesting camera changes and the ways that they're kind of doing some elements of how you're fighting these battles alongside the what feels like getting lyrics literally thrown at you as weapons and as you know, as things.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. Like when you can pull in elements like that feel like you had a ton of thoughtfulness around how you want people to kind of engage with this, and to be able to see how they all fit very, very well. It makes me want them to take a little bit more time with it and fine tune those pieces, because it can really be something special. And even in this early iteration of it, it feels like something I haven't played before, and that's different. And feels good. So I'm excited for this thing. I was already telling those folks, I was like, man, I need more of this now. And like,
did you do any? Did you put in any custom songs?
Not yet, but I had. But it made me think of all the songs that I want to add to this game and try to make it actually match. Right, like there are some dope, really fast-paced hip hop songs that I want to see how that feels when you're putting it into the game and how the game reacts to it.
Yeah.
But it brought up all those things of like early amplitude of getting those songs into a space where you're then playing them while you're doing it, and so I have a lot of thoughts about where and what game and what music I want to put into that game to see if it works, and then fine tuning it to see how it plays.
I've been playing my own music while playing games for years, and let me tell you, when I do it, people are throwing stones because they're like, "Ooh, the OST," and I'm like, "I don't know. Have you played Clair Obscur while listening to Muse? I have, and it was really, really good."
Interesting.
And they were probably listening to Muse while making Clair Obscur.
Come on, exactly. You show me Absolution isn't the soundtrack to that game, please.
The one asterisk I'll put on the adding your own music thing is in its current implementation, you also have to manually add the song's beats per minute, which is not something that you can easily look up for a song in my experience. And there are sites where you can just kind of, it'll be like, hey, just tap your finger to the beat and then we'll tell you the beats per minute. But like, depending on the song, that can actually be, if you're musically illiterate, kind of a challenging thing to do.
Here's the thing that I thought about. When you said that part, that was the part that I actually had a little bit of trouble with when you were talking about hitting on beat. I mean, I have rhythm, but like the thing that's in that mix of like genre based, it changes so much of like, oh, I'm playing this rock song or this heavy metal song. Am I playing towards the drum or am I playing towards the guitar?
Right.
In a hip hop song, I know I'm playing to the drum, but I know I'm also playing to the lyric of where this thing is happening. So it winds up changing your thought process of like what you're actually trying to put on beat. And I think the game doesn't do a good job of telling you exactly what that is, which I think it needs to kind of fine tune in that respect. Because that was a very different thing for me with those two genres specifically. I was like, oh, yeah, I think I'm doing this right. I think I'm hitting the button where it's supposed to go. And sometimes I was right, sometimes wrong.
Jacob, you realize what we need to do.
What's that?
I'm sorry that we've come to this, but just like you did in Beat Saber, we need to upload the entire Shrek audio track for the entire film and make it New Show Plus if you playing Dead as Disco for all of Shrek's dialogue.
I feel like we should do remember the rap song that someone made about MinnMax?
Oh my god.
In the game jam.
Yes.
Like we should put that in. That would be easy. We could do that tomorrow.
Oh my god.
I was going to do it as a get a load of this, but I feel like I'm plugging a lot this episode. But on Game Informer's Instagram account, you can find a Charles Hart lunch song.
Oh, right.
For Dead as Disco.
I was thinking about his Silk songs for this. Did that ever get made? Did he ever make those Silk songs? I don't remember.
No, that was a New Show Plus that somehow it had Silk Song in the title and people didn't vote for it, which was pretty damning. Okay, yeah, for sure the MinnMax rap. I'm sure there are actually a couple that the community have made, but that's such a good point.
Send me those, Ben. I'll film those tonight.
Okay, awesome. That sounds good. I think New Show Plus for Shrek, I think would be a fun thing to get in the poll of like, I assume we can rip all the audio from Shrek somewhere.
I don't think you could put it on YouTube.
Would it flag that?
Yes, for Beat Saber. Yeah, I don't think you can just play all the audio from a movie.
I guess I only get flagged.
You just can't monetize it.
You would get flagged for All-Star. Just that, let alone the rest of the movie.
Is it funnier if we cut out all the music and it's just the dialogue from Shrek that you're punching to?
I thought I had
on me.
I thought I had seen. I was like, did someone already do this idea of putting the Shrek like movie dialogue like in? But what I am seeing was someone modded in Shrek into Dead as Disco and then did I'm a Believer Like you can find
of course.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, they also, I've seen like Kim Kitsuragi from Disco Elysium modded in, and then they're like doing like the rave song from Disco, which is also very funny.
That's a good idea. But yeah, Brain Jar Games, name of the developer, and they're self-publishing here. But Dennis Disco is $20 on Steam. If you want to check it out in early access, I can't wait to see them keep cooking, because it's like Sifu. Like if you see the right clip from this game, you'll be convinced that this is the greatest game ever made. You know, like it can really work wonders on you. Okay, Ka, I see you're wearing a jersey. And we're at the preview event remotely for the new game coming out in June called NBA The Run. And the easy pitch for NBA The Run is, do you remember the NBA Street games? What if they made a new one of those, everybody? Which it seems like
NBA Jam and NBA Street.
Yes, this is what a certain subset of people have been screaming about for a long time, is please just bring back NBA Street in some form. And so it's a new development team, and the creative director, he technically worked on all 4 NBA Street games. You know, like he's kind of like, you know, art for a lot of them and stuff, but now he's the creative director, so they have some loose lineage, even though it's a new team overall. And this started out as just a game called The Run, and then in 2024, I guess NBA got in touch with them. They're like, hey, do you want to just make this an NBA game? Which is wild for like a self-published game. Like, here, just go ahead and have the NBA license. It's going to change everything. Janet, were you getting in character? What's going on over there?
Yeah, I got a Laker. It's funny because it's a Lakers thing, but it's made to look like a baseball jersey, and of course the overlay probably cuts off most of the logo. But
no, it's there.
You know, just for the vibes. When else can I wear this on MinnMax?
It just kind of makes
one other time.
It makes it look like a Chief Justice, but you know what? We need your verdict, Janet, because you got to play this thing as well. How are you feeling about NBA The Run?
I'm scared to say this, but it was really freaking fun, and I really hope this game is as fun as it was when I was playing it for the I think it was like a closed public beta where it wasn't hard to get into, but you did need to like get into it
a certain time for multiplayer testing.
Yeah, for the multiplayer testing. And I did like 2 games solo. First game was really bad because I didn't know any of the controls, and I said, okay, let me get my hands on the sticks a little bit, know how to do my tricks, know how to do a little more defensively. Then I played one solo, and then I played the rest with Isaiah, who also is a huge NBA Street fan and like a fan of like NFL Street and all of that. And man, it really felt like we're back, baby. Everything that I enjoy about just like, I think the ease of play. Again, there's a more complicated moveset, but it's like, if you know how to steal, you know that you jump when you're trying to block, you know how to shoot, you know that you hold the turbo, you know that you hold the turbo and hit the shot button, that's going to be a dunk. You can now play the game. Like, there's more to it, but you could do everything you kind of need to do. I think the courts were really like exciting to see. I'm from Chicago, and when they pulled up to Lincoln Park in Chicago, I said, oh my God, we're in Lincoln Park in Chicago. When they had the court that had, I forget if it was like a Lakers mural or just a general NBA mural on the ground, like that was really evocative. I thought it controlled really well. I think the only thing I wasn't obsessed with is they have their own version of the Game Breaker, which for those who don't know, the whole way these games function is that besides the fact that it's arcade basketball, you have a like trick meter. Once you fill it up in original like NBA Street, you'd get a Game Breaker, and that was a shot or a dunk or whatever you want it to be that mostly couldn't miss. Yeah. Like you could block a Game Breaker, which when the Game Breaker got blocked, let me tell you, that was like the most iconic thing that happened in your house. But what's also really cool about this is that it had like a specific animation, almost like a quick cutscene that hit, where it kind of slow mode the shot, and then you see it, and there's this like great animation work when it goes in. Yeah, they have their own version of that called, I think it's called, is it in the zone? On fire? What do they call it?
It's something to that effect.
It's something like that. Yeah. And it has like kind of a glittery, like glowy look to it, but I didn't really, and maybe it's just because I only spent like 40 minutes with it, I didn't get as much of a sense of it and what it meant, and it didn't feel as grandiose. So I kind of feel like you kind of either got to go more Game Breaker-y or make it more distinctly your thing, because it kind of just feels like you did a worse Game Breaker, and that's not a great feeling. But other than that, I had so much fun. Like, awesome. And the way we dominated, like I was doing pretty well on my own, but the way me and Isaiah were tearing this court up, we almost had a shutout game for one of the matches. Like and I don't know, there's a bunch of other things I want to talk about on what they do with like the tournament style and all that, but I'd love to hear y'all's kind of first impression, because mine was just like so much excitement. Like I sent Ben a picture of like the trophy I got at the end, and I said, get me on the pod.
This game is really good. It hits all those NBA Street, NBA Jam vibes in a good way. They did a really good thing in terms of the cultural kind of piece of it. If you're a big fan of Cucumber Slice, DJ Cucumber Slice, Babito, he is the commentator for the game, which is something that, again, if you're an NBA Street fan, if you're a hoop fan, in that way you have an automatic just like, oh crap, they got him. That's amazing that they did that thing. I think, ditto to everything that Janet said. I think there are a couple of small pieces that I think they definitely have to take a look at. One of the things I love about Street and NBA Jam is that no matter where you were, unless you were like really getting blown out, those game breakers are comeback mechanics in some forms or fashion. And the way that this game kind of plays right now, there's a lot of time-based modes that are in the space. So like, it's not just like, oh, get to 21. Or, first person to 21 wins. It's like in between those times, there's some permutations and changes of like, if you shoot a 3, you get more points than most. Or if you shoot a 2, you get, or dunks cost more, or dunks give you more points, those kinds of things. But right now, most of them are based on a time period. So you have like 5 to 7 minutes or something like that. They're pretty short matches, 3 to 5, I think. And that feels not so good if you are on the losing side of it, because if you run up the score a little bit early and you're about 4 or 5 points ahead, you can't really come back. There isn't a way to do it.
And they didn't.
Right. And they didn't. I love when Janet gets her back. She's like, yeah, I beat their ass. But like, that's a part of the NBA Jam and thing that is always a part of that genre. Right. And I feel like they're not getting that part right. I'd love to see some tweaks on that, because that feels like if you get to that moment, there's no way you can actually come back in a match. So besides that, they did some really smart things on the animation parts of it that I think are really cool. It's almost a little bit choppy in the way that it feels, not like Spider-Verse-esque, but feels like there's a couple of animations that aren't there that actually add something to this game that
pops
is
harder.
cool.
Yeah,
it pops a little bit harder in the ways that stuff does. But like, they have all my favorites in there. Shout out to my boy Jalen Presser. We're gonna take it. But like, all of those things are in the game. You have a ton of stars. You have a couple of pre-made, King of the Court-esque characters in there too that come across. This game for me is going to be day one. Like, I'm going to be playing the hell out of this. I'm dying to get a squad together. Janet, we got to roll. Let me see if I can get on that third spot.
To play, right? This is like a premium, right?
Yeah, no. Actually,
do we know anything about the pricing model? Because I was
we don't know pricing yet, because they haven't said
out.
anything, because they're still a little bit early. But I think it goes back to that conversation of like, this is going to be an easy pickup, hard to master kind of games. And I think that's great for what an NBA game has right now, because there's a lot of controller bits that are happening in that game that are a lot. Yeah.
If they don't handle the monetization right, like, that can kill the game. Like, it doesn't matter how fun your game is. Like, if it feels crummy to get like the in-game currency, if it feels limited, if it, I know that I believe they're only going online only right now. Like, I do think they need a local mode that would go a long way. Like, there's so many ways that I want to be in on this, and I'll be there regardless. Like that, I think, was that an Mbappe meme from like that quote? I'll be there regardless, right? It's like, that's my vibe, but I am definitely worried, because I've seen this like be a game killer before. I mean, that was the problem with like, I really like the NBA Playgrounds game, the first one. Yeah. NBA Playgrounds 2, once believe they were bought by EA. Look, and this is not, it's easy to drag EA, but it's really easy when it comes to NBA Playgrounds 2, because the monetization in that game and other decisions really ruined what would have been like a cool franchise. I am liking this more than NBA Playgrounds, just for context for people that played that game. But I'm definitely like I could see a world where like everything I played was true, but then the reviews hit and they're like, we hate how they did this. And I'm like, great, now it's ruined. So I'm a little scared about that.
Yep. Agreed. You never know for sure. Yeah, that was like the Saber Interactive stuff, even like WWE 2K Battlegrounds. Like, I'm a fan of any like arcadey take on sports, and I feel like with Saber stuff, it definitely got grosser and grosser and more monetized. And so that is a huge thing. And you say it's early, but like, it's coming out in June. Like, it's next month, Like, we're down to the wire. So the fact that they have been silent about it is like, but everything else is looking good. And like, it's interesting that in the presentation they had for the remote previews, they were really emphasizing like, we're a team of 18 people. Like, with contractors, we're up to 30. Like, this is a small team. Have some mercy with us, please, for some of these animations and presentation things. But like, if you're nostalgic about it, and like NBA Street, one in particular is the game that I spent so much time with. Like one of my favorite sports games ever. Like I absolutely adored that game. And so to have something harkening back to that is so damn exciting. Except I'm rooting for like big novelty weird characters. Because they had their kind of Kings of the Court stuff, and it's like, hey, here's a big tall guy.
You want Mario in there? Is that
I
what
want the Yeti and the Alien. Like the Alien was great at 3-pointers, and the Yeti was just like the greatest defensive character of all time. Like I hope that they have weird
Steamboat
stuff
Willie.
like that in there. Yeah, I want Steamboat Willie in there. Is it too much to ask?
I'm down for them to get a little weird with it. Like I don't have anything against that. I mean, we're already arcadey, so that would be cool. It'd be. I mean, and they have the NBA license, so like I don't know if they'd ever get like the WNBA license. Right?
Yeah,
that would also be cool.
fun.
How wacky!
I think something that's worth mentioning though that I think is cool about the lineup is they do NBA stars, but like through eras as well. So they have like current LeBron and like rookie LeBron, and those are like two separate like players that you can have. Like I think that stuff's really fun. You could, I love to, play extra in these spaces. So like I love to do a little theme. So I could see us doing like you're young LeBron and I'm like modern LeBron for my team. And it's funny for our team. I picked Luka Doncic from the LA Lakers, and then Isaiah picked LeBron because like, okay, yeah, we're gonna pick Luka and LeBron. We're both living in LA. And then the third person picked also LeBron. So then when we were playing together, and I was talking on the phone with
Dragon
him.
Ball Fighters.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
how many
I was-
Gokus do you need?
Another
I was like-
character, and it's also Goku.
No, literally, but I was like, it's so funny playing with two LeBrons on the court because I was like, okay, I called the other one fake LeBron because it wasn't Isaiah. I said fake LeBron got it. Okay, you got like I was like shoutcasting our own match, and like it was so fun. I definitely think, not to be cliche, but like it's always more fun when you're squatted with people that you know, just because some people can be kind of ball hoggy, especially in a game like this. I'm like, stop doing tricks and shoot the ball. Or like we had the thing where I do like the shakeups that you mentioned, Kav. The like when I got to the game where they're like dunks are now worth 3 points, I said, holy cow, this is like going to change everything. And then I repeated Dunk City over and over again throughout the match. I was like, it's Dunk City, make sure you're dunking. I'm like, sorry, I didn't dunk. I like did it too early or whatever. And then like I'd see like the other like player not dunking, and I was like, what is he, an idiot? We're in Dunk City. Why are you not dunking
It's
the ball?
Dunk City.
Like, hello, like come on, man, like get it together. Anyway, but yeah, like that stuff's just so fun. And they have a lot of fun street ball stuff incorporated too, where they have like the matchups is like shirts versus skins, and all of that. But yeah, I mean, I love what I see. I want more. I'm afraid of the monetization.
Yep.
That's my back of the box preview of this game. But like literally we got done playing and Isaiah loved it as well. And he said, I'm mad at how much fun that was because like now it's over. And like, what are we going to do with our weekend now? Why are we not playing NBA The Run? So hopefully, I don't know. I hope I don't give this the kiss of death that Leo gives to live service games.
Don't let Leo anywhere near this thing.
No, don't worry. I don't think he's going to be tempted. It's like just the little things get me excited about it. Of like, they said that they're going to have 48-player custom tournaments, like private tournaments. You can invite people. Like that sounds so cool. Just to have some huge street ball tournament, and it's all custom invites. And they were talking a big
Battle
game
Royale
about their
basketball.
basically, but they were talking a big game about like their crossplay too. They're basically like, the best fighting games, or sorry, not crossplay, but netcode. They're like, it's going to have crossplay, but then they're like, we got the netcode that's like the rollback netcode that's like from the best fighting game, so it's going to be the best ever. So they're really, even though it's online only, they're really trying to prioritize that it's going to play well online, I swear. But we'll see how everything kind of shakes out here. Jacob, do you know, honestly, I didn't play that much of 2 and 3 for NBA Street, but do you know like how NBA Street 1 works and who the final boss is, Jacob?
Is it Mike Tyson?
How dare you? Michael
He
Jordan.
shows up in a jersey and he's like, this game too, watch out.
That would be cool. No, I always love that idea of like, I think it's even in like the intro cinematic. It's like Michael Jordan like, hey, you want to come to my court? Watch out, buddy. And it is so fun to basically have the Mike Tyson equivalent, except it's Michael Jordan in NBA Street. It's like, all right, the final boss will be Michael Jordan. Good luck.
Yeah.
It's
It'd
so
be
fun.
so funny though if it was like Tiger Woods or something, just like someone from a different field of sports. As the final
Best
Why
right.
is Conor
Exactly the
McGregor
kind of
here?
anecdotes that these non-sports people always bring to the table.
I
Like,
know.
always just throwing out some
You just
nonsense.
name 2 other athletes.
Yeah,
something
I
that no
think
one
we
could do
understand
for a
it.
baseball player.
This
Why is
is now I
Timothy
see how y'all
Chalamet
feel
in
when I
this
talk
game?
about these road games. That it's like I don't know what's going on. I just sit out at this point. I'm like, I'm not playing it. I don't know what's happening.
Dude, and if Lola
yeah,
Bunny's in this, hell.
I'm so ravenous for this game that like I cannot help but backseat dev this game when I'm playing, because I've played a lot of these too, where it's like from NBA Playgrounds, I think they had like the 3-point shoot contest and stuff. I'm like, you guys should do that. Hey, if you need another thing to make, here's like another idea that would be like super fun. But yeah, I'm excited and I'm afraid.
That's fair.
I'm ready to be hurt again. That's how I felt leaving NBA The Run.
Yeah, that's so many games these days too. I'm just like, man, that was really good. Please, please, please keep going.
Yep.
That kind of thing.
We'll see how it goes. Janet, being Chicago's #1 fan, did you ever play the Michael Jordan game, the Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City on Super Nintendo?
No, is it a basketball game?
No, it's
No.
Platformer.
Oh my God, really? It's
platformer.
not. Oh my God.
No, it's a platformer.
Is
and the
it
weirdest,
Amy Hennig?
Yes, Amy Hennig from Naughty Dog. She was like the creative
getting ahead
lead.
of
Holy
your
cow! Why
probably
haven't I
reveal,
played
sorry.
this?
Yeah, just the box art is so good.
Gotta play Barkley. Shut up.
Wait,
and
you said
jam,
this is
too.
a platformer?
That's right. Yeah, I
think so,
Yeah,
right?
You're like throwing basketballs to hurt enemies and stuff.
Yeah.
To also plug, like I just started doing a platformer show with Patrick Klepek over on Remap Radio.
Yeah.
I'm sending this to him immediately and
Yes,
saying, how do
please
we
do.
get this in the show
He definitely
tomorrow?
Yeah, I guarantee
Definitely
he's
knows about
platinum.
that.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
he's in the suburbs of Chicago himself, so yeah, I'm sure he's familiar. But yeah, no, I have not played this. But I'm searching my retro game store now. I'm in there all the time. I will take a look.
It's at least a box you should have on your shelf. Just like the Xbox on your shelf, everybody needs one at home to feel.
Nope, don't sign off.
Disagree. Trying to make some
You
transition.
could have one unplugged sitting there, I guess.
So Xbox, it's been in a weird spot for, I don't know, 15 years or so. And I feel like every week it just gets stranger. Obviously, we talked about it a little bit ago with Phil Spencer and they're left. There's a big shakeup. Asha Sharma is now leading the entire division. And I just wanted to unpack it a little bit because I think it's fascinating. If you're into video game messaging, like they are just going all out, doing everything they can to get every possible positive headline right now, which I want to be a cynic about. I'm cynical and skeptical of so many corporations, but obviously Microsoft in particular, I am just inherently so cynical about like, okay, people are writing headlines because you changed the logo. Okay, what is actually the proof in the pudding here? Is it just the greatest PR blitz I've ever seen in my life to get all these positive headlines? Or is there anything underneath it? I think it's just like a weird saga in gaming right now that everyone's running with these headlines.
Are they positive headlines, or is it more
That's
just
what I was gonna
tracking
ask.
everything they're trying to do?
I think some of them are positive. Like the one in particular that got me. There's a couple, right? But they had a big wave. There's a couple. So they had a big wave of promotions. You know, Asha Sharma kind of like sunsetting some people, elevating certain people with an Xbox, all that stuff. And so the same time that was happening, like a couple days later, they had the big announcement like, hey, the AI Copilot, the Microsoft thing, they're shoehorning and everything. Well, we're canceling it. It's not going to be in consoles. And everyone's like, huzzah, Asha Sharma, power to the players. Look at this. But it's like at the same time, like the people they were selecting to rise up within the Xbox organization are all coming from Xbox and Microsoft's like AI division. So it's like I think there's just a little smoke and mirrors happening right now. And in the way to maximize headlines. And the other one, Kyle, that got me on the headline front is when it's like there's a leaked memo from inside Microsoft that everybody ran with. Like, I can't believe this leaked conversation got out there. And it was like Asha Sharma being like, Game Pass should be cheaper. It's like, there's no way this was genuinely leaked. Like, Windows Central, here, run this headline, please. Let's make her look very good. And then they lower the prices like $5 or something,
Also,
which I guess
just, like,
credit to them for doing.
a
But
legitimate conversation to have, like in an email. Like, I don't know. That's not that like that an executive thinks something costs too much is like not like.
But it just
I don't know.
And it makes her look smart and cool to say the thing that everyone has been complaining.
That's
I
exactly
feel
it.
like the real question here is what is a headline and who are writing these? Because I no unearned disrespect to something like Wario64, but it's like that's not a news outlet. And so it's like Wario64 posts the story that all Xbox employees are getting an @Xbox email address.
Right.
Who gives a shit? Why would any of us care about that? How does that affect anything at all? But it's just kind of like in the same time that you see like, oh, Carnival Games for the Wii U is on sale for $30. It's just like any email that is received is like blasted out. And because we have decimated the video game journalism industry, now like half our kind of like places that we get news from are just like aggregators, where it's just like we got an email and now we're publishing the email.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, I think that happens at like major outlets as well, and that's not to shade any major outlets running with like things that are like this is just a simple PR thing. Well, I feel like
I'm like looking at
nothing's
GameFormer.com right now. Like, what if
here's kind of my
wrote about
thing,
the Copilot thing?
because the thing is, part of the like, I do think the email thing is like not worth. Like if I was in a newsroom, I would say like, let's not write, because that happens all the time behind the scenes on news as well, where it's like you pick up stories as a writer and say, hey, do you want to write an article on this? And sometimes we say no, and sometimes we say yes, and whatever. Like I do think the email address thing is like, it just is such a nothing burger of a, like, who cares? Like that's not adding anything to anything, because we also already had the news before of the like, hey, we're rebranding back to the name we already had.
Yes.
Like that had already ran. So
Microsoft
I would say that's a
Gaming to
redundancy
Xbox.
story.
Yes.
But part of the benefit of tracking this stuff that seems like, who gives a hell? Like who gives, I can't swear here. So like, who cares? Is also to have like a timeline to link back to on things. Like I think, Kyle, to your point, like, I don't think all these outlets are like, Xbox is doing such a great job, we're going to share their stories with the world. It's like, hey, what's going on in Xbox? Because we need this stuff to document what inevitably will likely be another fall/crash within Xbox. Like this stuff is like, there's so many times where I want to go back and get a really specific thing. Like even something that is fluff, like just because it's fluff doesn't mean it's not worth like examining to like try to read between the lines or see what the messaging is or see what the conversation is. Like I poured over that like We Are Xbox news thing, and it's not because I thought, wow, they're giving me a really transparent look into their future. It's like, I want to see what are they saying. When they give me the fluff talking points, what are those points?
Yeah.
What might be behind that? And then like what you get from something like, in the We Are Xbox example, like I had it highlighted before, but they have that, like, it's a very small line, but they mention something that I think Summer is exactly where they are and how they're like, such a fence-sitting company, which every company is, but they're like doing it so hard here. We're like in that We Are Xbox thing, they have the, along the way, we will reevaluate our approach to exclusivity, windowing, and AI, and share more as we learn and decide. AKA, we might switch up at any second at any point, and nothing we say really matters. Like, hello, that's like a big, like that, to me, that's like a big deal for them to have like said that, and that gives me like more concrete insight into like their ideology, because if that's what you're saying aloud, what are you not saying is kind of the thing.
Yes,
so that's where I kind of stand with like some of this stuff. I do think some of it's like, hey, maybe this should have stayed in the Trello board, guys. It's a little whack. But like a lot of gaming news is the like, this thing went gold. Who cares? It doesn't really mean a lot. It means the release date's coming soon. Tell me when the release date is. It's like, yeah, but I don't know. Sometimes you kind of hit like the more like fillery stuff where you decide as an outlet that you're covering it.
And I think the way that you're approaching this in a very smart way is like a journalist, where you are taking messaging from the company and contextualizing that within the knowledge that you already have of the industry and what's happening and whatever. And I think that's what I'm feeling is missing often in these stories, is not simply repeating the PR email that you received, but, being able to take that piece of information and say, hey, you know what? This is, Xbox is saying this. What we can gain from that is how to think about their media strategy. Now they're doing this because blah, blah, blah. They've had a lot of bad press, whatever. Anything that is like going one step further than just being a megaphone for the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now going from like news versus features though too. And like, well, I think there obviously is some news that is like, this is like capital J journalism. Like you have done like reporting, you have like a multitude of sources. You're a private, like, I think there are tiers to like how interesting is it, like news that I'm interested in reading versus news that I think exists to sort of categorize something, so that when you do that feature on Xbox, you can have something to link to. But I do get what you mean. I do think in general, like you need to be careful that you aren't just like a mouthpiece for something, but there is also like a value to documenting what has happened in case like, I mean, with the Xbox marketing campaign, this is an Xbox, that's now scrubbed. It's like, so that fluff article that you have with like direct images that are in your CMS of We Are an Xbox, it does end up having value, even though at the time it's like, why are we talking about that a bento box isn't an Xbox? It doesn't have to be fluff.
I'm saying you can record that they had a Wii everything is an Xbox campaign without writing a fluff article. Yeah, like you can document without promoting
too, in order to like I don't know, like I get what you mean. Like I think this is one of those classic things that I talk about all the time in my family, where it sounds like we're arguing, but we do agree. Like, like I think it's good to flesh this stuff out though, because it is like not all news is created equal, right? And not all writers have the same skill, and not all editors have the same skill. If I'm being, so yes,
I know
people doing it
that-
whacker for sure.
Yeah, I know that the reason that it's happening is because people are being paid $20 an article on thegamer.com to write these articles. Like, I understand the purposes. It's just a disappointing place for the field to be in.
It's a larger
But I also
issue.
feel like this is a conversation that is kind of on the like Xbox hate train, which I'm not saying that like there shouldn't be a train for that. I'm a hater though for everybody like equally, and I do feel like some people, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I think some people are dogging on.
I'm not racist. I hate everyone equally. The logic you're using.
I mean, genuinely, I think there are people that are dogging this like, why are we writing about the Xbox startup? And if it was PlayStation, they wouldn't say shit about
You're
it.
right,
And Ben, you
you're
can bleep that out. That's effing fact, and I know it. And the truth is, like, something that pisses me off about this industry is I do feel like in the critical space, there are times where critics only step up when it's easy and fun to dunk.
Yes.
But when you might get dunked on for dunking, you're quiet. So I feel like just keep that same energy. Like, I think we should be
Get
like
into Dunk City, right, Jan?
Yes.
legitimately, like, because it's like, oh, now that you know, everyone's gonna agree.
Dunk City.
Like, everyone's going to agree with your take. So like now you feel like, oh, it's easy to be brave and like dunk on the company that 30 people already dunked on. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean you shouldn't be critical just because other people are critical, but it is telling when it's like, I don't think you would have said this if it was Nintendo.
You're right. No, you're totally right. I think the reason I'm kind of cynical about this is I see the PR machinations behind all of this stuff. Like they just want as many headlines to be like, we got rid of Microsoft Gaming, we're all Xbox now. And now we send out this blast and get it out there that, oh, we're changing all the emails to Xbox. That'll be another headline to be like, we're doubling down. We're going back to kind of a retro green logo. We're doubling down, fans. And it's like, yeah, I want Xbox fans to be happy. I just feel like there's so much to go instead of just kind of this like it's a thin veneer of we're servicing the fans if the core of the planet is still like we're pushing in an unhealthy direction.
Ben, this is a genuine question.
Yes.
When you say I want Xbox fans to be happy,
That's right.
why?
Because I would like everybody on planet Earth to be happy, and like there's Xbox games that I'm looking forward to, like that.
Very valid.
What are you talking about? I mean, there's stuff like Forza Horizon 6. Like I can't wait to dive into Forza Horizon 6. There's so many games that like are under the Xbox umbrella. It's like I would like those to be good. I would like this to be going in a healthier spot, so there's real competition for PlayStation in particular, so that they can get away with less corporate bullshit.
I guess it's just weird framing to me to be like, hey, I want Forza Horizon 6 to be good. Like that sounds, but it's like I want Xbox fans to be happy weirdly feels like it is feeding into this idea of like, well, we need to treat every company as like a place that has good things and bad things. And where I'm like, I don't know, if your company doesn't deserve, like, an Xbox fan is not a protected class. I don't want them to be anything other than like experience the stuff that comes out. And if it's a good game,
they can become a
good.
different fan, right?
I
Is what
do.
you're right. Is kind of what you're saying. Like they don't like you don't have to commit to being an Xbox fan and being happy. It's like if they're annoying you and they're doing stuff against what you want from video games, go be a fan of something else.
Real quick, Kai, I hear you and I see you, but I think it's better that the Xbox fans being happy is downstream from I would love Xbox to be in a healthy, great place overall for some real competition. That's
the big zoom out, right? It's like I want good games on Xbox. I would like a new Halo that is fun.
Yeah, sorry, Kai, you're about to explode.
How
Please.
about an old Halo that was fun?
It was
Like,
fun
do you
to
think we
see.
want to make these the downfall of Xbox side tangents every couple months? I don't know. They keep falling. Like it's not, and that's just kind of the state of things, But yeah, it is morbidly fascinating to see.
Yes.
Unfold. But it's I mean, they may attempt, but they have a really long uphill road ahead of them. Again, like you went from the best deal in gaming, a marketing tagline that people from the community kind of came up with and industry people ran with, and now you're like the deal that got really bad and we made it a couple of dollars cheaper, but it's still just as much as HBO Max. It's like no one cares. Like,
and we
that's
pulled
like,
Call of Duty out of it.
It's like yeah. It's like okay, like you're not really gonna get back there. It's like
Janet, you haven't seen the leaked memo?
Where she says that Borderlands is cool or whatever gamers want to hear.
It's kind of I hate to trigger people listening about this because I know what happens in your personal life has that's between you and your personal life, but it's like it's kind of given like your man cheated and now he's like, oh, but he picked me up from work. It's
yes.
like, He kind of did sleep with someone else like yesterday, though, girl. I don't know. Like, hey, you like it, I love it.
Slept with yesterday was weirdly the IDF.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, there's kind of like another line of questions that sort of pop up there. Where there is that too. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
yeah,
Kyle, I feel like you've been ready to pop for 15 minutes. what would you like
No,
to say?
I love all of the banter because it's all right. Like none of it is wrong. My like the
I like you on this podcast. You're like everyone makes great points.
No, the
I
points
really
are
agree
dope.
with Kyle when he's saying he agrees with me. Like I feel like he's making good points.
I mean, Janice on point pretty much all the time. But like
Pretty much.
Sorry, say it again. You cut out. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Goodbye,
Can we get that clean?
I know, right? What Jacob kind of pointed at when he was talking to Ben about that thing, I want all fans to be smarter. That's my full form. That's my full baseline part of this conversation is 90% of the conversations that are happening on social are stupid. They don't make any sense. Even if you like, I do think that the kind of flood the market moment that we're having from Xbox is smart. Right? I don't think it's fluff for the sake of fluff. I do think that there are folks who understand that right now, in this moment, Xbox fandom will run with anything because anything for them is better than nothing.
Yes.
And the idea that they are getting some good information, I don't fully agree with that because, again, the real actual, like, as a person who runs a podcast for 13 years, who has a segment that is all about the news, it makes my job infinitely harder to look at what's happening in the conversation and have something to talk about because, again, 90% of that stuff isn't actual news. There isn't actually a nugget there to really pull away from, except for in the past probably 2 months or 3 months since Asha Sharma has gotten into that role. You have 4 basically stories of the switching of the C-suite, which is from Phil and Sarah to Asha and Matt. Mm-hmm. You have the conversation that happened at GDC where the first discussions from Jason Ronald came up about Project Helix. That's actual news. Yeah. You have the latest that happened with the kind of addition of folks coming into the space from the AI arm of Microsoft coming into under purview of Asha in that space. And then you have those little tidbits of things that have come out around, the Game Pass change in price, the logo change, all of these other things. That last bucket isn't actual news. There isn't a lot of actual stuff there that's meat on the bone that for you as a player is going to change your experience. It's going to change how you embrace the brand. My conversation around what is actual brand loyalty has changed so many times because, again, I was not a big this is Xbox hater. I thought that was actually smart in comparison to where they were going for what they needed to do as a company that said during the FTC trials that we are literally in last place in comparison to everyone else. You have to go bold, you have to go big, and you have to try to figure out smart ways to galvanize the P&L of that company, right? Going into mobile, which they're going to do again, which Asha reconfirmed during the last conversation piece that she talked about, which was a thing that sadly, I think a lot of the last brass got thrown under the bus in a way that is unfortunate by the fandom because I think a lot of them don't understand how corporations work and they haven't worked a corporate job, so they don't know about how right now we're seeing what happens when you are actually given the baton to go as opposed to getting discussions chopped off at the legs, right?
Yes.
There was a moment in which Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond were doing the things that were allowed. And there's a difference between what's allowed and what's given at this point. Right now, you're getting a spot where Asha Sharma is given the space to kind of run and do what she needs to do to move that needle in a positive direction, based on what she's previously done at other companies and what we've kind of seen the fandom say that they want, but also the fandom says a lot of things that they want, but they actually don't know what those things are given to them or kind of what they mean when those things are coming to fruition. So I get really frustrated by a ton of this stuff, not because of the media blitz, but because the community decided that all of these things were news, and then actual outlets decided that we should take those pieces and run with them because they shouldn't have, and they shouldn't, and they're dumb, and they didn't actually deserve the space that we've given them in the zeitgeist to talk about where they're kind of moving in a direction. I care about when this company is going to show the thing, when they are going to talk about the next step of their media blitz in terms of what this console is supposed to do. Their positioning from a business perspective is going to always be moved from Microsoft first and then Xbox second. So knowing that those parts are in that conversation, we have to really be paying attention to what that means. You know, the conversation about Copilot moving away. AI is going to be in the next console in Project Helix in some form or fashion if you understand what AI is and you understand what machine learning is. They talked about this in the GDC presentation about what this is going to be from a console perspective. So I want fandom to be smarter and understand when they're getting played, and I also want them to understand that when the information is actually useful to you as a consumer. Because at the end of the day, Microsoft, Xbox, PlayStation, Sony, all of those companies are going to move with or without you, regardless of what you wind up doing. And that's going to be a positioning that is going to be based on money, and fandom is a part of that, but it is not the full crux of where that decision making happens. So you have to kind of know where you get in, where you fit in the whole ecosystem, and then decide where you want to play. And I think right now, Asher Sharma and the team are doing a good job of connecting with the audience and saying, we are here and we are listening. And what does that mean for you as a player and as a person who is buying into the Xbox ecosystem? Because if you are moving because of exclusives, you probably shouldn't be doing it that way, because that doesn't make a lot of sense. Because exclusives aren't going to be locked into that ecosystem because they need the money. They're getting money from PlayStation in the ways that they're putting games on that platform. So it makes sense to continue to do that, with the exception of certain games they feel will actually continue to connect with the audience in that way. So end of rant, but like a lot of that stuff doesn't make a lot of sense, and people are eating it up like it is the most impactful thing on the planet when there really isn't a lot of meat on the bone.
Yes, and I think what's fascinating as they position Project Helix, like the messaging is, you know, GameFile Totilo had an interview with them, right, where again it was like, I don't know, maybe we would want console exclusives again. Like everything, like Janet mentioned again, was kind of like waffling, like a little corporate speak for, we don't know what the plans are. Stay tuned. We will have results later. But like the fact that they're like trying to double down on kind of Xbox nostalgia, going back to the old logo, all this stuff, float the idea of maybe they'll have exclusives again, killing the "this is an Xbox" campaign. It feels like Project Helix, from what they've announced, of like more open, more PC-like, you can launch Steam on there, launch the Epic Game Store on there. That kind of seems counter to where they're pivoting now. And so I'm wondering, like,
always been so opposite of what they're doing. Like this is one of their problems. Like and before it was like the three talking heads, where it's like every head was saying something different. And it's like, what's your direction? And I'm like, I don't think you know. And I think Xbox's biggest problem is that they keep saying my goal is whatever I can achieve, and kind of retroactive. We've all written down something on our to-do list that we've already done, but we're not the head of like this giant company.
But can they achieve it? Because I still have a billion questions about how they're going to put Steam on their console.
That's kind of what I mean. Like, I think they're like, I'm down for whatever, because I'm going to see what I'm able to pull off, and then I'm going to kind of retroactively say, like, I felt like they couldn't get exclusives. When they realized the exclusive thing wasn't working out, they're like, oh, let's buy a bunch of stuff and get exclusives. None of that stuff worked out. The stuff that came out sucked. They're like, you know what? Actually, exclusives are kind of snobby, right? Oh, yuck. I don't even want them, actually. That's like super, that's not really player positive. It's actually more good to do what we're doing, which is not having anything, but kind of having everything. Right? Wait, you don't like that? Okay, well, you know what? I've always said exclusives are the pinnacle. And it's like, you're literally like so wishy-washy. And if you just stuck to something, maybe something could work. Again, I always thought the going away from the exclusive things was dumb, but yeah,
I agree with you on that part. I think right now we're seeing two things happen. We're seeing a distancing from the old guard that was there before, which is a very public version of that, which they have to do. I don't think it's good. I think it adds a layer of chaff to this whole thing that isn't necessarily great, because it winds up putting Asha Sharma in a really weird position, right? Where all of these things are being said, and she hasn't been on the job 6 months yet, right? Like all of these things are in the mix, where my worry for her is the conversation that we've seen in the Xbox fandom and a lot of fandoms is that we don't like the parasocial connection that is happening between the C-suite and the fans, because that is a thing where you are going to burn me at some point by giving me something that I don't want, which is setting her up for failure, because once she makes the hard decision publicly as a part of the head of that company, all of this niceness that's happening, again, there was some grossness that happened when she first got into the role, all of this niceness is going to turn. And it's going to wind up being the same thing we saw before, because the internet is the internet. It does what it does. Where they find that one nugget and they turn on you, and then that's going to be another, nick on the armor of the Xbox brand, when again, the loyalty to the brand hasn't changed based on what? Your game that is now going on to another console is something that you can already play on your console? That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. So again, where does all of these layers of they have done damage to the brand come from in a way that is tangible enough for you to have said, I already have this thing. I bought this thing. I have purchased this thing. I am now going to give it away, sell it, and then rebuy it. Because now, which was a story that ran last week, or a conversation that ran last week, of all these multiple people who sold their consoles once all these things happened, and then now are rebuying them after seeing what this messaging has become. Again, where does your fandom lie if you're saying that these are the things that are moving you from that position into this positioning off of these things that don't have a lot of weight and don't actually do anything until you have some proof in the pudding?
Yeah.
And the only proof in the pudding that has been there has been so far a dropping of the price that was already raised on Game Pass.
And
right?
taking Call of Duty out, which is a big component there. I mean, the biggest game in the world we're taking out.
Right, exactly. So again, like, the maneuvering from the fandom is one aspect that is extremely frustrating.
Yeah.
I am less frustrated with the messaging that's happening because right now they are throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yes.
And it's okay to throw spaghetti at the wall. But you have to have an understanding that, like, once you do that, all of that changes on a fly. And you have to be consistent about what that messaging is in a space where Microsoft and Xbox have not been consistent over the past couple of years. And that's where they're trying to land. They're trying to land in a space of consistency. So that's where we're seeing all of these changes happen, with all those discussion points going out and all the, Xbox press that's in the mix that's been doing that work has been doing them, honestly, a disservice, because not everything needs to be news. And once you make everything news, then nothing has value. And that's a problem.
On the parasocial front, this is just like a little thing that I'm fascinated by on the Asha Sharma thing. And I'm sure she's a lovely person. But it just killed me because we got like a press release about like, oh, the Xbox Fan Fest is coming back, yada, yada, yada. But at the top of the press release, it opened with, as you might have seen Asha Sharma announce on her X profile, and like a link to her Twitter page where it's like, I hate that idea of like, at the same time, I'm trying to wrestle with it myself because like, I like having personalities at the head of these companies. I hate how kind of, a little bit soulless Nintendo and PlayStation has got compared to 15 years ago or something like that, compared to this, I feel like I understand who's at the top of these companies, whereas now it's a little more ambiguous. And so I should like it in theory, but just the idea of just like the messaging coming down to like, let me announce this on my Twitter feed first, and then the press release links to my Twitter feed to drive engagement towards that. Like, that just feels so gross to me.
I mean, if you ask most folks, I've had this conversation with folks as well. Is like, I think PlayStation needs a person too.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I would much rather have that person that you are able to kind of look to and say, all right, this is the person who's driving the messaging for whatever this may be for our overall brand. I think, Phil did a good job of that when he was at the head of it. I think Sarah did a pretty good job of that as well when she had the chance to be able to do it. And I think, we saw the best version of that with Reggie when he was over at Nintendo, right? So we saw all of those things be in that space. I think the connection between the personal and the brand is shifting in a way that, like you said, Ben, I don't know if it's good for her.
Yeah.
As in comparison to good for the brand, right? Because it's going to be waffling across all of it anyway. But again, that puts you in a really weird positioning to have to then defend yourself in the public square when you can have your PR layer of it do that work for you and be the shield that you need so that all that personal space is actually given some space, right?
Yep.
So it winds up, I worry again for her in that respect, because again, once the conversation has gone from where it is now, where there's some good grace being given, to any small version of anything that's going to be deemed as negative from the fandom, all of that's going to go away.
Yeah.
And then what do you do with that? Because you can't put that back in the bottle at that point.
And then you can say, Phil Spencer, it was your call to destroy the lives of Arcane Austin, and Tango. And it's like, who knows?
Right. It's going to be good. We're going to blame Biden for everything. Right. Like it's going to be that moment again, right?
I actually heard that Joe Biden came up with the This is an Xbox campaign, which in retrospect was just foolish of that old man.
I mean, look, he was on his meds. He was doing his stuff.
All right, there's Xbox, everybody. Comments below. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, moratorium. When's the next time we're gonna have this conversation?
Next week.
Yeah, of course.
Next week.
It depends how crazy the next thing is and how quick it is.
I think I'm busy.
I think if it's
then.
like, if it's not that crazy, it's like let's just let it fly.
Well, the startup video will be different, and probably now.
That sounds great.
They just said that the Xbox video is going to be the new startup for the console.
That's it. We'll talk
and
about
everybody
it.
lost their crap for that. I'm like, all right, yo.
Kyle, do you know how this whole thing operates, Mr. Hilliard?
Some executive sharing a link to their Twitter account?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry, their X account.
Our biggest play is for Asha
I'll get
Sharma
it
to
someday.
share a link on her cool X account for patreon.com/MinnMax
Oh
with
my
two
god,
N's.
please no.
We need the X users. We
I
need
need
them.
I need it.
Please jump on in, everybody. Find a tier that's right for you if you're so inclined. If you want to help support independent games media, find something that's doable for you. Again, if you're a brand new supporter and you jump in before this coming Monday, I will DM you personally on Patreon with Steam codes for every Deconstruct Team game. Check out the description of this YouTube video or podcast, or check our social medias for availability. We have a ton of codes to give away, but we'll let the world know if we are out. But thank you, of course, to some of our biggest supporters, people like I Am 8-Bit. They want everybody to know about the Super Mario Galaxy movie vinyl soundtrack that is available in their wonderful online store. If you want to get one of the best film soundtracks of the year, especially for gamers, you can check out I Am 8-Bit for their wonderful vinyl of that fantastic soundtrack to the film. And you can get it on vinyl, you can get it CD, cassette, whatever you want to put in your mixtape. Jump on in there. And you should go to I Am 8-Bit's wonderful online store, check out a link below, and use the promo code Strawberry Fields. Strawberry Fields for 10% off of everything in that wonderful online store. And you should help support I Am 8-Bit because they support the MinnMax community in a huge way by shipping out a prize each and every week. Whoever has the best question submitted on Patreon for the community question segment gets a prize. This week, they get the Monument Valley 3 vinyl soundtrack, thanks to I Am 8-Bit. So look alive. Let's find the best one. Okay, Shane G writes in. Everybody ready for community questions? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Shane G writes in. They said, when, if ever, have you stopped playing a game because it was too easy? Boringly so. Personally, I stopped playing Ni no Kuni 2 a few hours in, mainly because of this, but I still didn't care for it much after they patched in difficulty modes, so there were likely other reasons. In other games, I've loved the early challenge, but lost interest once I got over the hump of it. I hear in Ni no Kuni 2, that was a pretty easy game, but honestly, I love how easy it was. It's kind of comforting in a weird way. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't relate to this, but I want to hear from other people about it.
Yeah,
That's why I thought it was-
I mean, I've never been able to play a Lego game for more than an hour.
Yeah,
or two.
that's a good example.
It just does not click with me. I am excited for Batman though. Like, there's a lot of that looks interesting, and I'm going to give that a real shot. But like that, it's just too. There's just not enough going on for me, right?
Yeah.
Like I just want a little bit more pushback, and that's not what those games are meant to be. And so like, yeah, every time I try a Lego game, I have that moment, the the same that I always have with Animal Crossing, where I'm like, maybe this one will be different, and I'm always like, oh yeah, no, I don't really like this.
Yeah, even though it eventually
This one was not different, turns out.
Yeah, it eventually got there, but I always have it for like Kirby games. But like the back third of Kirby games are generally interesting, you know, and like
Kirby's funky
Forgotten
in that
Lands. It's
way.
like, all right, the final boss is actually kind of hard, but for sure the first half of Kirby, it's always like, what am I doing? This is so.
Yeah.
You're having fun, Ben.
I don't think I
Taking
am.
in the lovely world.
I get there eventually, but at the beginning, I think I'm just kind of going through the motions a little bit. Sorry, Kirby.
I just play sweaty games. That's all the games I
Okay,
play.
just smart. Yeah. For
Oh,
me,
so you don't have the problem because you never pick up an easy enough game. That's
Hell
like a
no.
funny
For what?
workaround.
No, I'm just playing.
Jacob, do you have the same thing? Because I was thinking, because didn't you thumbs this up? I was like, what's going on
I
under
just
that
kind
hood?
of
What's happening?
I wanted to hear the answers. I mean, Kirby is also like I haven't played that many Kirby games, but I put down what's the Switch one?
Forgotten
Land.
Forgotten Land.
And it was like in theory I was enjoying that game, but it just wasn't like I didn't feel a desire to go back to it. And I think it was because it was just so like frictionless.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, yep, and here I go doing the thing that I know I'm supposed to do.
I am curious about Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, Janet. We'll see how that feels. You know,
Yeah, I'm like worried, quote unquote. Like I'm not really worried. If I don't like Yoshi, I'm gonna be okay. Like I'm gonna move on with
I
my
stay
life.
up at
It'll be
night.
fine.
Because the thing is,
But-
if I don't like this Yoshi game, when's the next one coming? Like another 6
Yeah.
years? It's like, I don't want to wait for another good one. I hope it's good, but it looks
I
like
mean,
it might be
I
kind
think
of whack.
part of it is like, look, Bob on Battlefield is not a hard level, but like I never get bored playing that because just the fun you can have with Mario's movement. You know, it's like you can just triple jump and dive through that whole level, and then it doesn't feel easy because you're still like having fun doing stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's where sometimes it's like, look, the game can be easy, but as long as it lets me kind of like, play around enough, and part of the challenge of not being challenged by Kirby is like you don't got to triple jump. You know, you can just kind of waddle and then you can
floating's fun, but it doesn't feel dynamic. Yeah.
To me, the challenge of Kirby comes in with like the exploration for the additional like collectibles. Like I think those are games that are sort of designed to be, yeah, it's easy as hell, but if you want more out of it, both from challenge but also like engagement, that's where the extra juice is.
But it's
not that I'm
like-
going to talk anyone into liking Kirby.
I guess it's just like exploration isn't inherently challenging. It's just looking in more corners, you know. And then sometimes there will be like a level there that it's
But
like, hey,
is that
here's
not a challenge of the eye though?
No, it's a challenge of my patience.
But sometimes hiding pussy.
But sometimes that's like the biggest challenge of all, though. You know?
There you go. That's why Lego games challenge Kyle, because he gets better.
Yeah. Actually, it was too hard for Kyle to finish. He couldn't get through it.
Kirby's an interesting example to me because every Kirby feels like a great first game for like a kid until like the last third. Or maybe even sometimes just the final boss, where it's like, okay, yeah, did you have fun? You've learned how to play a video game now? Okay, here you go. This is the challenge. Good luck. You want to see credits? Have fun.
Yeah. Sky Fellowship writes in. To answer your question though, Shane. Yeah, it's like Elden Ring was too easy for me. Sky Fellowship writes in. They said, following the chaos.
He didn't finish it.
I finished
why you
it.
didn't
Look at
finish
the
it, yeah.
achievements. I finished it.
So you admit you didn't finish it?
I finished it. Sky Fellowship writes in. They say, following the chaos over the Steam controller. I did get one, so this isn't a bad faith sour grapes question. Does anyone else wish we could pre-order and prepay for tech so they actually know how much stock to make to meet demand on day one? I say this because there's companies who use Kickstarter for these. See the recent Cyberpunk trading card game for a prime example on Kickstarter. And the entire campaign was to avoid scalpers ruining the experience day one of launch. Why can't other companies do this?
Because then the pre-orders become premium too.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I guess, right?
No, but he's asking, or they're asking, like, why can't you pre-order before the tech is made so they know how many to make?
Yes.
But then it's like, because I don't trust it. You know, it's like, I would not have bought a Steam controller sight unseen. I got excited about it because a couple outlets received one early and said, hey, this is really interesting. And then I wanted it.
Yeah.
But it's like, a Kickstarter for me is like, oh, here's like a weird, keychain to put your credit card in or whatever. And I'm like, if that turns out bad or doesn't come out for 5 years, who cares? But like, I don't think Steam could do that, or I don't think they should do that. Of like wait to start production until they know how many people want to order it. I just think it wouldn't work, even though I agree, as someone who didn't get a Steam controller, that the current system sucks. And I wish there was something better.
I didn't get one either, and I was not interested, and then it was really, I just felt like I was missing out. Like when everyone else was rushing about it, and I was like, oh, I hear that it kind of feels like a Dreamcast controller. I kind of want to hold one now, but then it was too late. Did you get one, Kyle?
No, I tried really hard.
Yeah.
It was in the morning meeting that some of the, right, it was on Monday.
Yeah,
Some people here at MinnMax were like, Leo was like trying to get one. And I was like, oh, is that today? And then it was one of those things that was like, I wasn't really interested in this, but now this back half of my day where I wasn't able to get it, now I'm upset about it.
Yeah, I know. It's so stupid. Stupid. Malcolm Holiday writes in, they say, hey, MinnMax, what video game title would make a good name for a pizza topping/style? So we're looking at like, is the idea of like, you're looking at a menu of pizza options and this is like the name of a game is the name of the pizza variant that you're choosing, that type of thing?
Doom.
Yeah.
Doom.
The Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend.
I think I got a real winner. Super Hot.
I also had Super Hot. Yeah, that's good. That's
Super
good.
Hot.
I got a real winner
that.
too. What about the name of the game? Pineapple on Pizza?
What Remains of Edith Finch? That's a great pizza.
There you go.
Yeah. Do you have to
Tembo
go?
the Badass Elephant.
What? Okay, Kyle. Would you assume that you're getting elephant meat on there, or what does that mean to you if pizza's called Tembo the
I don't know,
Badass
but I'm
Elephant?
intrigued. I don't know what this is.
Okay, what about this one?
Really big slices of pepperoni? Maybe that's
Well,
what it is.
if you go that route, you gotta have the pizza. If it's just called Big Red 1, like the Call of Duty game, like that's like sauce
You gotta
on
have the whole
top.
name though. It's got to be called Call of Duty: Big Red.
Yeah,
One.
the Call of Duty is for you to
parentheses PS2. That's
eat
correct.
all of this.
I don't know. Do you want colons next to your pizza?
Yeah, I guess that's messy.
I'll end up there anyway.
Because then you need the Artful Escape.
Oh, very good.
Hey.
Let's see if it's like the buffalo chicken pizza. It could be called Wing Commander.
Huh?
Okay, that's cute.
That's fine. Janet, I feel like, are you ready to pounce?
No, I'm looking at my backlog, looking at names.
Okay. You look like you're thinking hard.
I am thinking hard, and I'm coming up with very little. I'm just like, none of these games look tasty to me.
Okay, what about this? What about like
gold and
extra?
silver.
What if it's like just mushrooms and sun-dried tomatoes, and then it's Super Mario Sunshine? Would that be the good route? Does that work? Does that work?
okay.
But I feel like in the spirit of the question, in my mind, this has to be something where like all the other names are normal and this can still live. It can't just be
Yes.
like it's a video game themed pizza
Yes,
shop.
I agree.
Because it's like, yeah, I'd order Slay the Spire because if I see Slay the Spire, I give them money. Like that's how it's been always. But like,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like a
coming
pizza
up
name.
with. There are a lot of bad ones. It's like carrion, perfect vermin, cocoon. Lots of things you wouldn't want to get on a pizza.
Yeah.
If there's just a pizza that was just called Inside, like, what does that mean? Is that stuffed crust?
Crazy in there.
Okay, genuinely, if this was
good.
the name of the pizza, I feel like it could work without any context. Pipistrello, like the yo-yo game, was like that feels like something with like some good spicy peppers.
It does
on
sound
there.
like, yeah, it's like this is just something I
would
don't know
be
where I'd
at a
Google the
pizza
ingredient
restaurant.
Yeah.
and then be like, oh, I guess this is tasty. I don't know.
Right, extra olives. I don't exactly know what it is.
Oh no, I'm out on the olives.
I'm with you.
Same.
I am with you. Well, there we
know
go.
you are.
Oh,
We're the
like
same.
the Popeye video game. There's just like extra spinach on there. Everyone's got ideas. Let's see. The Juan One writes in. They say, "Hey crew, any updated thoughts on Marathon? Paul Tassi made a video on it recently. He explained that he's a big Bungie guy, but they made a game that he doesn't enjoy. That seems like the case for many people. Either people love this game or enforce their beliefs on extraction shooters, that it's not a genre for them." I personally, I love the reception to Marathon, even though I bounced off it harder than who bounces, Jacob? Kirby?
I don't know.
Flash.
Who bounces?
Than Jumping Jack Flash himself.
No, Jumping
Explosion
Flash,
Man.
the PS1 game as well.
Of
Kyle,
course.
I just
Favorite
played that
pizza.
for the first time like a week ago.
And it
Get out of
holds-
my head, man. I don't like that.
How's it hold up?
It holds up surprisingly well, but I think you do need to be a little broken on the inside. Like if you like platformers, you'll be like, "This is really fascinating." And if you don't, you'll be like, "Why would I?"
If you
play
have
this?
childhood trauma,
Yeah.
Jumping Flash.
Is that what gives the platformer something? Well, that's a whole other thing I have to ask Patrick about on the podcast.
Please do. No, but like seeing people like Jeff Gerstmann be like, "This is a game of the year. This rules." Like there is a group that is like all in on Marathon. Austin Walker and stuff. That's like I love hearing their enthusiasm for it. And where are you at, Kyle, overall on Marathon here?
Marathon feels so many different versions of fun for me because it is sweaty, it is beautiful. I think it's amazing in terms of its art design. I think the moment-to-moment gameplay experiences that you have within that space, especially if you're playing with a well-coordinated team, are some of the best that I've had in a very long time as a person who likes extraction shooters and who likes the ability to think about a firefight tactically. I think those parts are really, really smart. I think they continue to do the thing that I think a lot of dev studios and especially Bungie gets, points docked for, which is finding good ways to connect with community and figure out where they are actually kind of missing parts of what the audience wants in a way that they're bending, but they're not breaking, which I think is really smart. Because I think a lot of times when you play a game like this, because of the way you can literally min-max parts of what you're doing in that space, you wind up kind of deteriorating the experience for the greater base because you're looking for very small subsets of people who are like at the very top end of that bell curve, who are at the very top of that kind of experience curve. And they found a good way to kind of find ways to meet in the middle to find a really fun experience. I spent God knows how many hours in this game playing it. It is probably my weekly thing as a person who gave up on Destiny all the time because of that continuous grind that you need to get to. I can jump back into this thing, still feel competent, and feel like I'm still able to take a good firefight and win most of them with a really smart team.
Yeah, Jacob, do you think there's any chance you'd go back to Marathon? I know are you still in the camp of lightly curious after everything you've played, but not diving in?
There's no chance that I go back.
Oh,
but it's not because I wasn't enjoying it. It's just because like it's. I feel like it's like playing a multiplayer game that's kind of endless is so hard when you want to kind of like keep up with interesting games that are coming out and whatever. And it's just kind of like even though I hear what you're saying of like, I feel like I can go back anytime. I just don't. I feel like it's like once I miss the first like 2 months of a shooter being out, I kind of feel like the the meta has just passed me by so far that it's like I had a hard time when everyone was the same experience level of jumping in and feeling like I was getting killed all the time. And now that everyone playing it has been playing it as a full-time job for months, it's like the punishingness of that genre just feels like it would be accentuated. So I still I've loved reading people talk about it. I think the game seems like it has a really cool community. I like how much people like it, but it's just like it's past the point now where I could go back.
Here's a really quick add on to that really quickly. This is going to be the most interesting version of a wipe for an extraction shooter.
Yes.
Once they do the whole, we're going to reset your basically, some of your faction stuff and all of those things, the things that people have literally been grinding for since launch. That's when we'll see the biggest either continuation of people staying or the biggest drop off of people leaving that game. And I don't know how they're going to handle it because I don't know how you handle that well.
Yeah, because I've been watching. People generally have not been happy with how Arc Raiders has been doing their kind of wipes. Because they kind of are like, oh, you can keep some stuff into the next one if you build up enough money or whatever. And so, yeah, I'm curious how the reception to Marathon will be.
Yeah. We should play, Jacob. Whenever you
do it. By the way, Backstage Pass watching us live, they're killing it. I can't let it go. Obviously, for the pizza names, Pizza Tower. How do we not say Pizza Tower for the name of a pizza? If that's on a menu, I would like to order a tower of pizzas. Yeah, just keep stacking it. Yeah, it's like the multi-layer things if you just order all of them. Everything, the name of that game, that would totally work on a pizza menu. That's true. Yeah. I like The World Ends With You. You just see that on a menu? Like, what does that mean? Do I have to eat that? Let's see. Martin Hollis writes in. Not the director of GoldenEye. I DM'd them on Patreon. I was like, are you who I think you are? And they're like, no, I am not.
Wait,
I am a young person.
Martin Campbell?
No, the game. The movie and the game are both directed by Martins. Isn't that fun? Anyway, so Martin Hollis writes in, they say, Dear MinnMax, does any animal just confuse you? I both do and don't understand how camels exist. Yeah, camels are good. They're weird. The water's in their back? Is that what's going on there? That's pretty weird.
Well, the one for me is like people talk about unicorns as like a fantasy creature.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, how could that possibly exist? But then it's like giraffes are like right there. Like giraffes like seem like some of those alien creatures on Earth,
Yeah.
I took this question a different way, and I was going to say my cat Mona. Who is like the most confusing. I do not understand this cat at all. Like, just like completely unpredictable. And yeah, so.
What does that mean? Mona. Just weird cat? What does that mean?
She's incredibly anxious, but sometimes she has to sit on me. Yeah. And then sometimes she wants absolutely nothing to do with me whatsoever. And sometimes she pees outside of the litter box, and sometimes she doesn't. And sometimes in the middle of the night, she will just throw toys up into the air, like flipping them, and like 1 o'clock in the morning. And she screams at me that I need to like pet her while she eats. But then she's like, and now you are not allowed to touch me for the rest of the day. How dare you come anywhere near me? So yeah, Mona. Her full name is Mona Persona, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
I fear that is just a cat, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's all cats in a lot of ways.
Sounds like my relationship
yeah, but they're
with you,
fun.
Kyle.
They're fun little, like, complex creatures, little buddies that scream.
I think about often, like, traveling, like birds and stuff, where it's like a bird can like fly over an ocean.
Yes.
Yes. But what I started thinking about, and I was just like, how is this possible? Is like butterflies that migrate, where it's like a monarch butterfly travels thousands of miles, and you look at a butterfly and you're like, I get how a bird could just kind of like set its wings and like soar for a while.
That's so
a
hard.
Butterfly looks like the most effortful movement possible, and it's like, you're so small, you can't hold any nutrients.
Yes.
You would have to just be like refueling constantly, and you're going like thousands of miles.
And you keep setting off all those tsunamis.
Yeah, exactly. Stop hurting Ashton Kutcher. But yeah, think about it. It's like, I feel like if you ate a butterfly, it'd be like 6 calories. So like, how can it fly thousands of miles if that's all it can contain in its body? Yeah, that's a good one. I was regaling Jacob with this, but like flamingos are a big one for me. The basic idea of like, at the Minnesota Zoo, they have a little placard with facts about flamingos, and they're like, scientists can't figure out why they stand on one leg. I was like, what? Scientists, come on, chop, come up with something. But then also it's just like, well, they're pink because they eat stuff that makes them pink. And everyone's like, cool, yeah, got it. I'm like, wait, what other animal does that apply for? Where the food you eat makes you a color? What are you talking about? That's absurd. It's just a bird.
Well, pink dolphins, probably, right? They're probably eating shrimp out there, right?
Yeah, it's like if I eat this food,
So it's
am I gonna
only
be pink?
shrimp?
It's like you are what you eat, right?
Yeah, but people say that, but it's not like you're turning violet. Like, it's weird.
That's true.
Anyways.
It
Don't get me
happened in
started
Willy
on
Wonka
that.
Factory, right?
It did, of course.
So there's
that's
you
a
couldn't be
reference,
clearer,
right?
Ben.
It's Crush Violet. Sergio writes in and they say, hey, everybody, do you understand the game industry more or less since joining MinnMax? Also, are you clear on what you want to do within it? That second one is kind of a meatier one. I don't want to tell tales out of school. I feel like we talked at some event and you're having a moment of just like, what do I want from my career right now? And I don't know if you've turned a leaf on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a person who's worked at a couple of studios and a couple of games and does this for not for a living, but helps to sustain me in some forms of fashion. I've been doing a lot of work in the social media and community space, and I no longer want to do that work in the video game industry.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth the first in, first out. It's not worth dealing with most of the meanness that comes along with it, because it's not really worth it. But I have wanted to do something that feels more kind of connected to that. So I've been looking in more spaces that are more business development and developer relations kinds of roles, which have been really smart for me in terms of I think I have a good rapport with most folks. And I think a lot of folks who know my work understand that I have a good eye for what makes a good game and can speak to now having some time behind the scenes of knowing what a little bit of the process looks like. So I think, I think a lot of folks in the roles that we are currently in the kind of media space usually move towards a marketing PR perspective. I want to do something that feels a little bit more impactful on helping teams find a new game that they want to either publish or, be connected to or some of those things. So I think after 15 years of doing this stuff, I think that has been probably the smarter route for me and what that looks like.
Do you feel like you have the in? Are you on the road to doing more of that?
Why? That's why you see me at so many shows. I'm networking my ass off to try to figure out who are the folks. And again, a lot of this time, because I'm currently unemployed, but it's like the conversations that I've been having have been a lot of, what does the process actually look like? What are you looking for in a good game? How do you, I have a ton of the connections parts, but the minutia of getting a contract made and doing all those pieces, I don't know yet. So I'm asking a lot of folks who have done it, like, what does that look like for you? What does your day-to-day look like? What are you talking to people about? And how do you find the next good game? We all go to the same kinds of events. Like we go to the Mix, we go to, if we're lucky, you go to Bit Summit in Japan, you go to some of those things, those indie events to find those things. Where are you finding those next developers who are making the new cool thing?
Yeah.
And then how do you connect those to people who can get their thing made? So I think that's where I'm at right now in terms of that conversation.
Yeah, I struggle a lot with this, and I'm doing good overall, but I do have those moments just like, what am I doing? Is it just like I love MinnMax, I love this stuff so much, and it's super fun and always challenging, too challenging sometimes. But then thinking about it, it's like 15 years from now, am I doing this? And it's like, I guess best case scenario, yes. Just doing like a more interesting version of this, if MinnMax can continue to get more interesting and take bigger swings. But at the same time, somebody wrote in with a question about this the other week about just like, what's the right size for MinnMax? How much do you want it to grow? And it's like, yeah, I guess it's not like my mission is to make this thing 4 times as big. Like, I don't think we'd be happier if it was 4 times as big, or more happier significantly. It just mean meaner comments. And so it's like, it's a weird thing to be like, I'm good because I don't feel good. I feel like I'm still have a huge chip on my shoulder and want to sprint to make miracles happen. But at the same time, it's like, well, is this just as satisfying as it's going to get, I guess?
Well, the thing I love about MinnMax is like you do really smart work, like in a space that doesn't like smart work anymore. Like that part is hard. You know what I mean? Like that's the crux of so many folks who are trying to do this really well, is trying to surface really good stories, really good games for their audiences and be able to connect with them in really tangible ways. But it also feels like we're all getting crushed by the way the conversations have moved. It pings off of the discussion about like what's news versus what's not news, right? Of like, how do you make this thing feel good for yourself so you're creatively involved and creatively fulfilled while also knowing that you got to pay some bills to make the things work, right? Like people ask me all the time of like, how many people on your team? I'm like, no, it's just me. Yeah. And they're like, how do you do so much stuff? I was like, I don't know. But I know I need someone to help either fund it, or I need someone to help me kind of grow it to a space where I can do kind of what you all are doing here with, Patreon and all those other layers of it that make sense for where you are for the sustainability of making the good, dope thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the hard part. Yeah.
I was surprised, Jacob, on Bonus Pod this week, where you said like, "Oh, I'd like someday to be like a video game expert, and NPR can call me up for a quote, like that type of thing. Like you want to reliably just kind of get to." Is that kind of highest aspiration for you now? Is that weird? Like, I want NPR to call me more, but
it's not the highest aspiration, but I'm just kind of like, what is a sustainable way of doing this, of just kind of being someone who knows a lot about video games?
Yeah.
And I do think it's just kind of like broadening, so you're a subject matter expert in a way that extends beyond just people who listen to video game podcasts.
Yes.
Right.
It's like, I don't think, it's like being like, the thing I am is a video essayist or a podcaster or whatever. I don't think is a winning strategy, but I just think like being known as someone who can write well and or talk well about games, there will be a need for that. I don't know what the format will be, but hopefully just being in enough people's heads that you're a person that they think of when the next version of expertise on video games is needed.
Yeah.
That's kind of the most secure version of this I can think of.
How often do you think about or crave in your heart and soul, like, I hope I hit 2 million subs on YouTube? Because being at like 1.5, was it 1.5 right now, roughly for you?
Yeah.
Obviously absurd. It's every time I see like a big YouTube channel, I always look at it and be like, Jacob Geller crushes them. So like,
I was like, how many of these fit into one Jacob Geller YouTube channel?
Right. But do you have that internally of just like, I'll feel so freaking happy if I hit 2 million subs?
No.
Good.
Yeah.
Me neither.
No. It's like more than one.
Me neither is crazy.
It's like one is the final, like 1 million is the finish line of that race.
Yeah.
Like
you're in New Game Plus now.
And it's like, guess what? Subscribers are not meaningful on YouTube. Like, right. sorry to like burst the bubble, but like it doesn't. I know, Ben, you want the BDE of like having 100,000 subscribers, so like people will answer your emails, and that is reasonable. I've got way more emails answered because I have like a Wikipedia page and it doesn't correlate to views. Like it doesn't cause views, I should say. It correlates, but like the YouTube is built in a way different than when it invented subscribers, and most people are not looking at their subscription feeds to decide what videos to watch.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like, have my views continued going up as my subscribers counts have gone up? No, not at all. Right. Every video essayist I know, their views are going down, and we're trying to figure out why. And it's like, is it just that people aren't interested in this format anymore?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. That's an existential threat, but it's not going to be solved if I hit 2 million subscribers.
Yeah.
So you're saying MinnMax can have your 500,000? Like we can have that bonus?
Yes. Yeah, I'll just, we can draw up a, contract. I'll transfer it.
Cool, yeah. Let's trade it like trading resources in Age of Empires. Kyle, do you know what you want from the industry?
I don't think I thumbs up this question because I am not prepared to sort of analyze it too deeply. But I don't know. It's a tough question because like I like being sort of a games journalist. I like being a writer, a Game Informer. I really enjoy that. It's a dream job and continues to be a dream job. I also enjoyed my time between, working with Thorium on Undermine and stuff like that. And like I enjoyed that. And I don't know. I don't really have a solid answer, and other than I know I will be within the video game industry in the long term, but I want to be surprised in the future, and I want to be open to like going in different directions. And until then, I'm going to keep enjoying my time at Game Informer and working with the crew over there. I really like working with everybody over there.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, I'm kind of like in a similar boat. I mean, I think for the first part of the question, have you learned more since joining MinnMax? Yes, God, I hope so. Like years have passed, so I think I'd have to try not to learn more about the games industry. Like speaking to people every day almost of the work week about video games. You don't learn as much as you would think, only because it's still a very secretive industry. So it's hard to learn anything about games, which sucks. It's also just very buttoned up in general, where that's why it's like you can't even apply to go to some of these events anymore. You know, PAX is like one of the few things where it's like you could apply and it doesn't matter who you are. Like anyone can apply, but like you can't apply to go to SGF. You just have to like, I hope someone emails me. No, like, you know, and that really sucks. I think I get that like if you had a portal, it'd be a million things that weren't opened, but at least you'd have something. Anyway, so that's kind of a sidebar. But for work, kind of echoing a lot of what y'all said. I want to keep, you know, getting better at what I'm doing. I want to learn more about games. I want to learn more about different genres of games. I want to up my writing output more on a personal level. I want to just make more content from the content I already make. I think that's one of my weakest spots. I do a lot of stuff, but it's like so many people don't know a lot of the stuff I do because I spend so much time making it that they're like, oh, I didn't even know you were on this show. And it's like, yeah, like, so I want to be better at that. I don't know how deep it is, but I would like to write a book one day, I think. But you also have to write to get that done. So it's like, let's get some of these gears turning. But yeah, as far as career, I mean, I love what I've been able to do here. When I started in this industry, I feel like the thing that I was most drawn to was criticism. Like I did news, I've done guides, I've done a lot of things. I've done reviews, of course, too, which is criticism. But usually, like when I would tell people, like, I just want to be a critic, like I kind of just want to be a professional reviewer, they're like, well, that job doesn't exist. So I kind of just DIY'd it, and I love that. Like I love being able to play games and analyze them here with y'all and write things if I want to write things and do consulting, which the form of consulting I do is mock reviews. So it's literally getting paid for doing games criticism. So like I really like stuff in that wheelhouse. Not saying I would never go to like more of an industry side thing, but my passion is in doing that. So I'm open to any opportunity that allows me to do that.
Yeah.
And my email is in my bio, and I am available, even though I'm very busy. That's the other tough thing about freelancing. Like, so many people tell me, well, I didn't think you'd be available for this. It's like, I'm available. Like I am available for stuff. Yeah.
Well, hey, speaking of very busy, Ka, I know you got to run, but thank you for joining us for the long haul here, sir.
Always dope. Thank you so much for having me. I love the show and I love all the work you all do. But it's always really fun to be able to see it actually in real time and be a part of it and be a part of the conversation.
You're in it right now.
So thank you so much for having me. This is a really fun time. I would love to do it again.
Yeah, spawn on me.
Yeah,
if people had to go one place, where should they go to follow you more?
You can check us out actually on all podcast platforms. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube as well. So please go check us out because we also need some views to go check out some of the dope stuff that we're doing over there. We have a good episode coming up very soon where we're going to be having on famous talker Jay Muse from the Silent Bob series, talking about the game that he is in and all that good stuff. So we're going to be talking to him and some of the folks making the games they've been making.
Cool stuff. Awesome. All right, this is confusing. We transition by having people clap. So if you want to give us one clap and you're out of here, sir. But thanks for joining us. Next question. Mike R. writes in, they say, any chance in the world we can have Haley DeBoom as one of the cohorts? We would love nothing more. Her job makes it a little tricky. It's always a balancing act. She's a very important, influential person. And so just like how jobs took Joe Juba and so many other folks away from us, it's a tricky situation. But it would be awesome if we could line up for her to be a guest cohort for a month or something. Like I would jump at that opportunity. But again, it's tricky with the larger job stuff. Victor Hensley, dynamite question here. They say, howdy, MinnMax. After hearing Delaware mentioned so much on a recent episode of the award-winning Leo Win show, what is that? They say, I began to wonder which U.S. states have been mentioned the most on MinnMax's channel, and what about the least? So naturally, I searched the YouTube transcriptions for every piece of MinnMax content. When looking through it, I filtered out instances when the state wasn't actually being mentioned, like Indiana Jones, instead of saying Indiana, Maine versus Maine, George Washington, stuff like that, etc. But I'm sure I missed some. All that said, here's the unofficial list of MinnMax's 10 favorite and least favorite U.S. states based on overall mentions. Does anyone want to guess? Yes, please.
Okay. Pretty good guess for number one.
You think so? Go take a shot.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna guess Minnesota.
Correct.
For number one.
I'm gonna guess Utah.
Utah is on neither list. It's in the dead man's zone
you
in
don't
between.
Say.
I want to guess those bottom 10 to be like, what have we never mentioned?
Correct. And here's a spoiler. We have mentioned
Minnesota's number one, right?
Yes.
Like, just to be clear.
It's at 659. The next one is 298 mentions. Just what do you think number 2 is? Which is surprising.
North Carolina.
Oh, you would think so. That's number 9.
New York or California.
New
California.
York. Why are we talking about New York so much? Isn't that weird?
It's in Spider-Man.
Oh, it is kind of the main character, if you ask me, in Spider-Man. Okay, yeah. So least favorite states, least number of mentions. Technically, we have mentioned them all, which is surprising. You think there'd be one that's at 0.
Except
It's
Utah?
like
Utah's in the middle, I said. Like, it's neither
that's
least
right,
nor
right.
top.
get Utah out of your head. He's trying to get it into the top 10 by just saying it more.
Utah.
Is like Idaho in the bottom 10.
No, it's not. Apparently, that's also in the middle ground.
What are the numbers? Do you have the numbers for the bottom 10? Is it like 2?
Yes.
mentioned?
The least number is 5 mentions, which it seems
5.
impossible that we've mentioned the state 5 times, but I looked it up and it is absolutely true.
Nebraska.
New Mexico.
South Dakota.
No.
Missouri.
No, apparently we've all mentioned those a decent amount.
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona.
Hang on, whoa.
I'm just going alphabetically.
Alabama is the second least favorite at 7 mentions of Alabama. Sorry, Alabama.
Because we mentioned it that many times.
I know. How would Alabama ever come up other than the Alabama Slammer?
Wow, rude. What's happened there?
Did someone go to school in Alabama? Because I know like the people that went to school there
They're
talk
weird.
about it a lot.
They are
They're doing a lot, I feel like.
They're
What's
not
the
allowed on this
least?
show.
The least, of course, is, drumroll please, New Hampshire?
With 2?
5 times we mentioned New Hampshire. And I looked at like YouTube analytics for the last episode of the podcast. There were 29 people in New Hampshire watching the last episode of the podcast. So I'd like to apologize to at least those 29 people that we mentioned your state so little. Oh, so little.
Can
Why
you
are we
just
talking
give
about
us the top
states so
10?
often?
Where's South Carolina on the list? Because I'm sure I mentioned that occasionally.
No, Kyle, apparently we never talk about your upbringing. Also,
Whenever you start to say it, I just yell north. So
Yeah.
then it counts for me.
Everyone always just assumes I'm from North Carolina. I don't know why that was so consistent. Everyone's like, "You're from North Carolina, right?" I'm like, "Nope."
Well, really, Kyle, you're from the state which was number 5 on our least favorites.
Sounds about right.
No, not South
South
Carolina.
Carolina,
No,
what's up?
no, I'm not.
Okay,
I'm
what's the
saying,
top 10?
No, hang on. You're not picking up where I'm going. You're not from South Carolina.
I'm from Rhode Island.
Thank you. Number 5, Rhode Island, of course. So top 10 least favorite, going from most popular to least popular: Oklahoma, Virginia, North Dakota, Indiana, Arkansas, Rhode Island, Delaware, West Virginia, Alabama were tied, and then New Hampshire. There you go, everybody. Okay, what do y'all like for a question of the week?
That career one was pretty hard hitting.
Yeah, career one was not messing
I
around.
liked your all's animals, even though I didn't have an animal.
I like animals. I like the pizza. We've certainly never gotten that before.
Pizza was cute, yeah.
Yeah.
We're always in the pocket of big food, though, for these questions.
I know.
Is it obvious to pick the pizza one?
Yeah.
Let's do
I
an
kind of like
animal
the
one.
animals because it's like a giraffe, but then also Kyle's cat.
Yeah. Okay.
And I agree. The mind of a cat is unknowable.
Congratulations, Martin Hollis. You just won the prize thanks to iMateBit. That is the Monument Valley 3 vinyl soundtrack. And now it's time for something that we love to call Get a Load of This. God, we're rocking out to that jingle like it's a frickin' mixtape sequence, you guys. Hey, get a load of this. Ben Reeves, friend of the show, former coworker at Game Informer, he just released a game on itch called Standard Operating Procedure, which is like a text-based, interactive experience there. That the labels are corporate horror, choice-based narrative, and headphones recommended. So link below if you want to play Ben Reeves' new solo game that he made there, and it's up on itch for everybody for free. Run it in the browser.
Awesome. Get a load of this. I learned something about the cinema classic Shrek 2 the other day. And look, if I came in with the Get a Load of This and it was, did you guys all know that Accidentally in Love by Counting Crows was written for Shrek 2? You'd all be like, yes, of course. We all knew that. But I learned an additional piece of information, which was in that sequence, there was supposed to be a Weezer song, and the song was actually written, and it's the Weezer song My Best Friend. But according to Weezerpedia, the producers found the song to be too Shrek-ish, and so it was not used. And Accidentally in Love, therefore, is timed to the animation sequence they had already made for the Weezer
That
song.
should not work. So if people like plugged it back in, that's kind of fun to try.
No, that's the weirdest thing. I was looking as like, surely someone has put My Best Friend on the Accidentally in Love sequence, but I can't find it.
Weird.
The other weird element is that song, the Count and Crow song, has snuck into my daughter's algorithm recently. So she's been like listening to that.
I'm so
And she's not a Shrek fan or anything. So it's very
Not a
strange.
Shrek fan yet. This is the gateway drug.
Not a Shrek fan, period, actually, I think, for her.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I can't agree with your daughter on everything.
That's right.
Get a load of this. I feel like this is maybe known, but I ran into some people that haven't seen this before, so I'll share it. Kodak a while ago dropped a product called the Kodak Charmera, which is a keychain digital camera. It's super tiny. I finally got my hands on one. They're like 20 or 30 bucks. I forget how much. But for just audio listeners, it's literally like smaller than an AirPod case. Like it's teeny tiny. It's a working camera. It even does video at 30 FPS, so not 60, Ben, but I think you'll be able to handle it. And the quality is like surprisingly good for what it is. Like you can just kind of look at screenshots online. It does look like, kind of crummy and like, but it's meant to look kind of have that old disposable camera look to it. And I think it really like achieves that well.
Janet, what is it called?
It's called the Kodak Charmera. And it's great. And it comes, it's a blind box actually, which is also another layer of fun where there's like 6 or 7 of them or something. And you can like either get them piecemealed or you could like pay a bunch of money and just get all of them, maybe gift them out or whatever, or just if you're into collecting them. But it's great because I really want to get more into having a way to take photos that isn't my phone. And this is like so fun because you can just like, you can always take it with you because it's so tiny.
I keep reading this as Kodak Chimera.
Yeah.
It is hard not to
Charmera.
read Chimera. Which I wish that was also coming up more because that's just fun. Just a fun
What's
creature.
the blind box element? Is it different colors or something?
Yeah, they're just different colors. Like the one I have is like red. The other one is like they have like a clear one, a blue one, or like a secret one. It's just kind of another fun thing. It's funny enough, I picked it up in person because I feel like it's mostly online.
Yeah.
But there's like a film place like in the valley that I go to for like my equipment. And I'm like, oh my god, this is here. I was like an impulse buy at like the lighting store. Hell yeah.
That's cool.
Hey, get a load of this. For the cat in my house that I do understand, Nami, I had to buy her some medication online, and there were 35 different flavor options
Ish. Why?
for my cat's medicine.
That's bad.
I can't for the life of me figure out why, and I will never... I'm not going to be like, well,
Taste test?
obviously
Mutual
Nami
Plus?
loves banana.
I want to know like how cats taste. Like I want to taste what they're tasting because my cat also had when he had some medicine, one of his was bacon flavored, and I feel like he was into that bacon flavor. And it's like I always ask like my like husband like stuff about our cat, which he can't answer because it's a fucking cat. But it'll be like, what do you think my cat's favorite human food is? He doesn't get much of it because he's not supposed to because he's a cat. But a cat will eventually get into something. And it's like, how much bacon has my cat tasted in his life? And when he gets to taste it again, he's like, oh my God, finally, I haven't had this
just
in
like
2
my
years.
medicine.
Yeah.
It's just like my medicine, yeah.
It was like, given the amount of time that my cat spends licking this, I think his favorite flavor is New Yorker magazine. Does Bruce also, cats just love licking paper.
Really?
They just love kind of crunching on paper.
Ew.
The other
No,
weird
Bruce is
element
pretty
of
good
this
about that.
is the vet, which is very casually, was like, and of course, get marshmallow. I was like, why?
Oh, what?
Not too bad.
So
I
just thought that was
love
really
that
weird.
so much.
And
They have like
it's
such a
one of
fun
those-
insight.
It's like one of those things that's just eating at my brain of like, why are there so many flavors?
There shouldn't be.
Like, why is
And
this
who's
happening?
testing them? These are, okay, we're getting into stoner territory elements.
Get a load of this from the Discord, the community channel. They have factoids, fun stories they share all day, every day. It's the best. Someone named Kep in there shared, and they said, hey, that Burger King in Puerto Rico that Ben went to at the launch of Modern Warfare 3, it's all Star Wars'd up. And they shared an Instagram video, and it is like for the blockbuster launch of Mandalorian and Grogu, there's just this one Burger King, and we made a YouTube short about it, you can find it, where they just like overhaul it and go all out. They basically make it like a little Disney level attraction and just like reskin it over and over again for the big releases. And so they made it just look like a cantina for Star Wars. And like it looks really good and cool. Like they're spending so much money just on this one Burger King in Puerto Rico and just overhauling it. So
cool.
Link below if you want to check it out. That is it for this episode of the MinnMax Show. Thanks so much for watching, listening, sharing, all that fun stuff. If you enjoyed it, help share with a friend. Leave a review on your favorite podcast app. That always helps in a big way. Or if you, again, would like 5 awesome game codes, support us at that $5 tier if you're brand new, or if you upgrade to the Backstage Pass tier. I will personally DM you with all of Deconstruct Team's games, including Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood, which Sarah was a huge fan of, and Midnight's Whisper, which Jacob, Jeff, and I, and more are a big fan of, and a ton more in there as well. But we announced on Bonus Pod that the next MinnMax Spotlight is going to be Sarah and Haley going to Kyoto, Japan for 17-bit, focusing on their new game Oasis. So if you know 17-bit from Galaxy, Skulls of the Shogun, or you're a fan of Jake Kasdal as he appears on the 8-4 Play podcast, or his roots going back to early days of Sega and Nintendo, like an amazing perspective from the game industry. And so I can't wait for that big travelogue. MinnMax Spotlight is going to be coming up, probably launching in late May or early June. Like realistically, when it's done with the edit, it's probably going to be like SGF time. So like, then maybe hold it till after SGF because that's going to be so deafening for coverage and stuff. So we'll figure out the right slot in there. But look forward to that coming soon. Can't wait to see what that journey is like for all of them. Speaking of what the journey is like, Bonus Pod this week, which you get if you're at the $5 tier, it's right in your bonus podcast feed, is Jacob and Haley and I talking all about the trip to Spain. And really, I think the most interesting part about it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob, is just like, it's kind of a discussion about games coverage and diving into like what the MinnMax Spotlight means, pros, cons, angles for this. But I thought it was a really fun, interesting chat about just like the balance of wanting to highlight independent developers. And I feel like MinnMax Spotlight is the safest way to do that, where there's a kind of a personality insurance, if you will, of like, well, if people don't want to learn about this indie developer, maybe they want to watch a travelogue of Jacob and I in Spain, and trying to make that marriage harmonious, along with a lot of behind the scenes details in that. So unlock Bonus Pod at that $5 tier. Also, surprise, we made a new episode of a show that is now called Devs Talk Shop, where it is game developers wandering around Pink Gorilla Games with Kelsey Lewin. And so this time it was Dan Teasdale talking about Snap and Grab and his history going back to Army Man RTS and Rock Band and Destroy All Humans. And so if you like Criterion Closet, you want that for games, the new episode is up on MinnMax's YouTube channel right now. And we have more stuff on the horizon. We recorded a rapid fire interview that's going to be dropping on Tuesday next week, and it's with Kyle Bossman hosting it from Delayed Input, formerly VZ Allies, former guest cohort here at MinnMax. But it was really coming from a place of like, we should do more with Bossman. He'd be really good at rapid fire. So I reached out to him and was like, would you want to do rapid fire? He's like, yes. And I was like, which game would you want to do it on? And he's like, this one. And I was like, I would never think of doing that for rapid fire, but we should totally do it. And so it makes total sense now. And so it was very fun. We'll talk about it more, but it was very fun to like, I just kind of produced the call and the interview and stuff, and just kind of like muted my mic and turned my camera off while he was doing the interview. But then it was like, oh, I'm like taking notes. I'm like, oh, you can insert this joke here as a pickup later, or like, oh, we should have a follow-up question here. So it's like my dream position of like sitting in the wings with Google Docs, listening to a Kyle Bossman interview and being like, missed joke opportunity here. Like it was really very fun to then go back and patch that stuff in. But there we go. Look forward to that on Tuesday. How's everybody doing? Feeling good? End of a long show? Big show, long show?
Long episode. Yeah.
There we go. Jacob, you got something to say, buddy?
Long episode. I agree with Kyle.
Boot up that Xbox and play some exclusives, Jacob.
I think Kyle and Jacob made some good points.
There we go. All right, there we go, everybody. We'll be back next week with a new episode. Thanks so much, everybody. Be good, have fun. Let's go.